Hey, how you doing, Ray? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. It's 6:24 a.m. here in Adelaide. I got up at 5:30 a.m. Uh, Damn dog woke me up. Pain in the bum she is. Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Could have used a bit more sleep, but I'll live. At least it's a reasonably cool morning here. It's still early though. Yeah, I do. But I'll tell you what, Ray, she pushes my buttons from time to time, and lately she's because I've been going out a bit more, I guess. She's getting real clicky. Hey, how you doing, Crystal? As you guys might know, the Raging Cajun is back. Hey, Lost, how you doing, buddy? Uh, yeah, I don't know if you guys know, the Raging Cajun is back in town. We did a quick show last night. Um, it's good to see him back. Uh, Mr. Guy. I just hope a lot of this shit stops. Gunner, how you doing, mate? No, no, not not you, Lost. Um, yeah, long time no see, Gunner. When I say Raging Cajun, it's the artist formerly known as Focus. Um, yeah, I'm not too bad. I just got a bit of a sore throat and shit on my chest, so but I don't feel bad or anything. Probably gonna have to just. I think it's time to give up smoking. I'm pretty lucky. I was never. I didn't sort of really start smoking full on until later in life. So let me see. What have I got here? Why won't that work? But yeah, I'm all right. I'm going to put the link in for you, Lost, if you want to jump on, mate. No, it was good to have the old Raging Cajun back. I just hope that things don't get out of control like they did last time. Yeah, understood, Gunner. No worries, mate. You got my email anyway, Gunner. We'll always keep in touch, buddy. Ah, here we go. Messages starting. Someone got a little bit put out of place because I was advertising Go Hopping's uh, website and YouTube channel, which is just simply ludicrous. I mean, the guy's a friend of mine. I've known him for a while. But they will be weird, Cutter. Um, just because I, promote Go Hopping's pages, that doesn't mean I'm interested in anything that's on there. Yeah. Um, Yeah. I do it because the guy's my friend. He's a younger guy. He's into the bar. Hey, Steve, he's into the bar scene, and that's what he likes doing, and that's fine. And I know there's a lot of guys out there that do. It's not my thing, but I'll still support him because yeah, Gunner. Gene got a little bit offended and started asking me if he was a lady boy and if I like lady boys, which I guess I got a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was angry, but I wasn't happy that.
You got a little bit aroused talking about ladyboys. Is that what happened?
How you doing, mate?
What's going on?
The Texan stud is with us. Oh no, look, I mean, I've been warned about this jealousy thing, and it's just insane, mate. Like if I can't advertise and support a guy that is my friend, there's something wrong.
What happened there? I guess when I was just coming in here, where it was someone was giving you crap for giving a shout out.
Oh yeah, I think Gene wasn't very happy about it. Then asked me if Go-Go's a lady boy and if I like lady boys, and I just like, what the hell? I don't have. Um, I don't know if you're going to say silly things to me, I don't have a lot of patience. I guess at times.
So she feels offended because the guys running around in the bar scene. I guess.
Yeah, but that's doesn't mean that's what I'm interested in. And just because I support the guy and want to help his channel out, and that doesn't mean that I'm interested in it. It just means that the guy's my friend, and I want trying to help him out.
Yeah. What's wrong with going to the bars anyway?
You know, well, the guy offered me free membership to his site, and I told him no. Um, you know, I'll probably just join up just to support him. You know, I'll yeah, well that's true, exactly, Gunner. I mean, I do understand where you know yeah, someone might get jealous, but to talk silly things and say silly things, it's just I don't really. Ah, hello, Gene. No, I don't think I did anything wrong. I was just trying to help out a friend, and I wish Jean would understand that. And she's in here saying sorry, so maybe, Jean, just because, and you guys got to remember, go-go hopping is not go-go bobo. Two different people, not the same. Go-go hopping, his name comes from the fact that he goes from go-go bar to go-go bar. Um, but I've known him a while now. Um, he's a really good lad. Crystal, I've never really even been into the strip club things. It's not really my cup of tea either. But
Apparently, Crystal's a porn star. She was bragging about on August show there.
holy shit. Yeah, that's right, Steve. Just unfortunate coincidence with the name. But he is a decent guy and he's a funny lad. And originally he started his site out to help people that were going to Thailand to find the right bars, which bars would be best suited for people, and give people a bit of a guide. So Crystal's saying no, lost. Oh shit. Struggling to hear you, buddy. You got a bad connection where you are?
Well, yeah, there's a walk in through here where it goes bad on me. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, mate. Yep. Yeah, Gunner, it is a good site. And he's the thing is, he's pretty talented putting his website together. It's very well done. Um, and if you're going to Thailand for the first time or even your second time, uh, it's a good way of getting to know which places are worth seeing and which ones are not, and what's more to
So
your taste.
are you pro go-go bars or anti go-go bars?
Oh no, no, no. I'm. That's bars are fine. Um, it's horses for courses, mate. There's it's like they have the sports bars over there and the more sedate, quiet ones. But I don't have a problem with go-go bars, not at all. I mean, they're there for a certain part of the market.
Yeah. No, I mean some people take a hard stance for or against. I was just kind of curious.
No, I don't. It's I guess like the strip bars is not my thing. But at the same time, it's not like I've never been to one. Um, but yeah,
How dare you
everyone's
go to a
different.
strip club, you heathen, you
It's been a long
virgins of
time.
hell.
Oh, mate, it's been a long, long time. And geez, I tell you what, the last time I went to a club would have been in the US, and it was the most disappointing thing because in Oklahoma they got this crazy law. I don't know if it's everywhere in America, but if you go to a strip club that serves beer, the girls are not allowed to strip totally naked. And if they strip totally
Yeah,
naked,
they got the pasties on there in Oklahoma.
and if they strip totally naked, they're not allowed to serve beer. So it's crazy. Hey Larry, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, yeah. A few states have that law. Florida has it too.
Yeah, Steve, they can be pretty deadly. And a lot of what people don't realize in Thailand, you got to be very careful because they got security in all those places in the streets. A lot of them are Muay Thai fighters, and they'll jump you. 20 of them, they don't give a shit. If you start a fight with one of those guys, you'll have 20 of them just running from everywhere to get you. Larry. Yeah, Gunner. Um, but yeah, so last night I sort of went to sleep, not real happy. Um, and we definitely have some communication issues. Um, but try and get over that. Yeah, Face Runner. What I found was they didn't allow alcohol in the strip clubs where they were totally nude, and where they were totally nude, they didn't sell alcohol. So it's kind of weird. Over here, um, all the strip clubs sell alcohol, and the girls are totally naked. So I was kind of surprised about that. I don't know if that's just in Oklahoma or all
Yeah,
over the
the
US.
the strip bars in the U.S. are disappointing after you've been to another country where they're all naked and many other things go on. And you come to the USA, you're like, these guys.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. And I'll tell you what else was weird. I was watching a movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie, um, just on commercial TV in the US, and they edited all the naked bits. Uh, and I couldn't believe that because over here on commercial TV, they'll put full nudity. Yeah, maybe in the wrong club's Face Runner. But yeah, going back to the original point, I mean, just because I'm helping out Gogo by giving him a shout out and that, I mean, I don't see the point of getting jealous about that. And So very insecure. If you're listening, Gene, you don't need to be like that. Yeah, Gunner. But, I don't know what it is. I guess the oh, you're still there, Gene. Good. I'll tell you one of the real disappointments for me about the US, and one of the drawbacks is how much the churches have a say in the politics. Gene, don't start retracting your messages all the time.
You mean how the preacher might stand on the pulpit and tell you to vote for a particular person? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about the fact that America's um, politics and at times legislation is guided by the church. And I'm sure that the
Well,
strip club.
I would disagree with that. Not 100%, but as a still mostly the majority of the population still kind of refers themselves as some type of Christian. So obviously, the people who are making laws are usually Christian people. So
Oh, but I think
until
the
something
church.
changes with that.
I think the church does have an influence on the politics over there.
I don't think so. Like I've been to other countries where literally the church has political power. So I mean, I'm going to look at it from that lens, and I completely disagree.
See, I mean, what else would be stopping the fact from commercial TV over there having full nudity on there? That would be a influence from the church, surely.
I would say that was pretty secular. I wouldn't, America, for the most part, Americans, generally speaking, here now, still find nudity to be offensive outside of religious purposes.
Yeah, kind of. I agree. It is diminishing. Definitely, it is diminishing. Um, and you're probably right. The Bible Belt is probably an area where they have more influence in those local state areas. Um,
Well, I think
yeah.
it boils down. Now that I have a child, I wouldn't want her to watch regular public access TV and see nudity personally.
Yeah, but see, here in Australia, what it is, it's only after a certain time, like say if there's a movie with nudity, it'll be at a certain time and the warnings are given before the program starts.
Oh yeah, we have those same things here.
So I can
And then of
understand.
course, they got to remember too. Also, certain station they have their own different guidelines. There's certain stations that they'll more than happy to kind of show like what is considered brief nudity, I guess. They'll do
Yeah,
that like after 7, 8. No, I forget the time, but
yeah. See, when I was over there, it was always cut out. Now, Larry just said Trump just repealed. I guess he's saying repealed. Trump just repealed the Johnson Act. What is the Johnson Act?
I don't know what that is either. So
Well,
you
Larry, you might have to explain to us what the okay. I'll put the link in for
somebody
you,
better
Larry.
repeal my Johnson.
Holy shit. You're a funny bugger lost. I don't know. I just, I mean, we've had full nudity on TV here since the 70s. Um, I don't know. It's always occurred to me that
I
just from
would
what
definitely say
my
that
personal,
the America, especially for one of the most developed nations in the world, does we it's still taboo. The nudity and sex type things are still
yeah, and I think that's
kind of
through the
taboo.
church influence. Um, um, I think, like the
Has
guys in here said,
for
it's
sure.
diminished. It is diminishing, but the church has had a big say in the US for a long time. I guess you're a country that was founded by guys who were seeking religious freedom. So, hey, Larry.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
It's a funny thing going on in the States right now with
Okay,
religious
I
things.
said
Go ahead, Larry.
the Johnson Act. I don't know if that is really the name, but under President Johnson, Lyndon Baines Johnson, he ordered that he made. I think it was a executive order. He told the IRS that churches can't take a political view, and if they did, they were going to lose their tax-free status. So at that point, probably 99.9% of the churches were quiet on politics. You know, they wouldn't tell people, well, you vote for this candidate, or this candidate here is a heathen, you know, you don't want to vote for him. They stopped all that. Well, under President Trump, he repealed that, and he said, we want to hear from our religious leaders. We want their advice. We encourage them to speak from the pulpit. And he repealed what the Democrat, President Johnson, had in place.
Well, hang on. I think what Johnson did is a smart move. I don't think religion and politics should be separate. And what we were talking about is not so much about them supporting any particular person in politics, but having an influence on legislation. And I think that's happened in the past, Larry. I think one of the reasons why it was always so hard to get marijuana legalized in the US was probably because of religious influence.
Yeah, well, everybody has their own opinion,
Yeah.
regarding that issue.
Yeah.
Of course, my opinion is opposite of yours. But that's neither here nor there. I was just trying to, explain what exactly happened.
And yeah, I'd never heard of it. Never heard.
Yeah, when you were in the States, years ago? The point I was trying to make was that the gag was just taken off by President Trump, as far as the church talking about politics.
Yeah, talking about politics, I mean, that's one thing, and I don't think the church really should get involved in politics. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I just think, there's always been that, over here anyway, that church and state are two different things, and they don't mix when it comes to legislation, because you can't throw your religious morals onto someone who's not religious. And we're in a part of society today where not everyone is religious. There was a time when the majority of people definitely would have been, but stats over here in Australia are showing that that's dying out now. There's less and less people that are, what would you say, are getting into religion. The people are actually walking away from it.
Well, I would agree with that. That less people are going to church nowadays compared to what went on, years ago. Yeah.
It's happening here in Australia, that's for sure. I mean,
what is the stats in Australia for people who people now? I think it's like 26 to 36% of Americans check the box, like not defined, not necessarily atheist, but not. They're saying like non-religious, I guess, which that could apply a lot of different things. But we have anywhere 26%, 36, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but
I could Google it for you and get an answer, but I wouldn't know it offhand. I mean, I'll give you an example. Adelaide, where I live, used to be known as the city of churches because we just about had a church on every corner. Well, we should be called the city of pubs now because they've closed up the churches and made them into bars.
Well, it says in the last days in the Bible that scoffers, people will become willfully ignorant, scoffers. It's going to be really big. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what you're saying, Thunder. So you're really saying what the Bible has foretold about the future.
Mate, the Bible can be read in so many different ways. I mean, but the thing I don't like is that you can't take the Bible as a piece of. It's not a factual document. You know, it was. I guess in the words of Mork from Mork, it's a bestseller.
Well, it's 66 books wrote over over $1,000-year period, over thousands of years.
Well, what you got to remember is what we know as the books of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. They were something like written between like 30 and 50 years after the fact, which is a long time. To me, it's just a lot of it's story. We know that a lot of it was stolen from other civilizations. Like a lot of the Bible stories are taken straight out of the Sumerian stories. So to use the Bible as a factual piece of evidence is it's ludicrous because it's not a factual book. There it is. Gunnar just put in it's the Johnson Amendment to stop churches from endorsing political candidates. And you know what? You know, that's a good rule. That should be kept in. I don't think.
I agree.
I don't think religion should be supporting candidates at all. I think you've got to keep religion and politics separate.
Well, what if somebody holds their religion very dear to them and, say, for example, they're against abortion and you have a certain politician or certain political group that supports abortion, and then you have another group that's against abortion, shouldn't your religious leader be able to tell the congregation, hey, this is what we believe?
Well, congregation.
No, you can tell them what you believe. You can't make it political. You can't
politicize it.
Get involved. Like, all right, yeah, we're against abortion. If you want to use that example, we're against abortion.
Wait! I got to keep turning this up and down because Thunder's blasting and you're just like in the mud. Wait a minute, let me turn. Okay, start again.
Joe Blow.
You can't what?
Go for it again.
No, you can't. You can't go up to the pulpit and say, Joe, we're not going to vote for Joe Blow because of his stance on abortion. We're going to, vote for John Doe because he does stand for. You can't do that. You can stand there and say,
why can't you? Why can't you? Because you say it.
Separation of church and state. That's why.
That's what somebody come up with a government idea.
Hang on, Larry. Why
can't the pastor? The pastor can do whatever he wants in the pulpit.
Yeah, but that's fine to talk to your congregation about that. But to go outside of that and make those announcements, remember, that's fine to have those beliefs if you're religious. But to push that onto politicians, which those decisions then affect people who are non-religious as well. You can't do that.
Well, the non-religious people probably wouldn't be in the church anyways.
No.
What if atheists were the ones who were the majority in the USA and they were ones that were preaching we should have abortions to everybody, and then would that be okay for the other people? I mean, you can't have one majority over the other. I mean, we don't live in a democracy. Okay, if we're talking about the U.S., we live in a constitutional republic. So it's not mob rule anyway. So what you're talking about is mob rule. Like three people, if you have three people in a room, two people could say, we're going to take your money because we agreed to. No, there's laws protecting the individual. That's a republic. I agreed, but I wasn't talking about mob mentality.
Wait.
If you're a minority group in the U.S., that you still get, say, like you can, the mob can't rule is the whole thing. You have to respect the the ones who are also the
Right.
minority.
So what you're saying is, you said if everybody was an atheist, they couldn't do that. How would you feel? Well, in the U.S. we have uh, rules and laws protecting individual rights to keep from happening what you're just saying.
Exactly. So is it okay for people who were thinking right now? There's a minority of people who, I think that I shouldn't say that. I should probably use it. Well, let's pretend for the moment that abortion is a minority stance to have abortion. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just pretend it is. Is it okay for religious people to push politicians into making laws for that, to go against the minority of people who are for it? I mean, you can look at this
Everybody's
both
looking
ways.
out for their own interests. I mean, you got people that are
That's
lobbyists.
in your daily life. That's fine if you want to believe that. If you want to have abortions, I think that's fine. But I don't think law should be made around a religious view
Yeah.
of any particular thing.
Yeah. How does it go, Larry, when you have, say, the church say, okay, you can't have abortions, and then tell that to a person who's not religious that wants to have an abortion? I mean, that's
Well,
it
it's
becomes
up
ludicrous.
No, it's up to you if you want to follow what some religious organization has to say. That's your
Exactly.
your,
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we belong to a group of people who like sweet tea, all right, let's just take something minor here. Well, let's get away from abortion. So only a small portion of the USA likes sweet tea, and for some reason this guy wants to ban sweet tea. You think it'd be okay to ban sweet tea? We should make laws around sweet tea.
well, we have a process, to make the laws.
But that's what we're
You're
saying,
always
that
gonna
a
have, people are always going to have an opinion. Okay.
religious beliefs shouldn't be building your laws.
Exactly. We should leave religion out of the government. Everything should be
Well,
separate.
that's you guys' opinion. There's plenty of people that would disagree with that. So just because you
Of course,
say it,
plenty of people
it
would.
doesn't make it right. And just because I say it, that doesn't make it right. We're always going to have this argument.
Agreed, and I don't want to fight with you, but I believe.
No.
I mean,
We're not fighting.
the Constitution spells it out that we have separation of church and state. That churches are not allowed to make laws. I mean, we can look at history and know how bad that can turn out.
Yeah.
Well, the United States was who was it? Obama that said we're no longer a Christian nation. It was founded on Christianity.
No. The founders were Christians. It was not founded on the principles of religion.
Well, when the Puritans left England, it was for religious reasons.
Yeah, state persecution, and that's why we have laws against that. I mean, the Protestants and Catholics were killing each other like crazy before they were coming over to the USA.
And certain religions weren't allowed, and they came here for religious freedom. It wasn't to make a religious country as such. It was to be able to practice whatever religion they wanted to freely. But I'll give you, and someone said something in here. So look at the Quran and look at Sharia law. There's where religion's gone nuts, where you have Sharia law dictating your legislation and treating people ridiculously bad because of what's written or been written in a book. I mean, you have to admit, Larry, that's not how you want your government to run.
That's why the Dark Ages were so dark.
I mean, I respect your opinion, Larry, and I know what you're saying. But what
I want everybody to believe whatever they want to believe.
Yeah. Well, the Dark Ages came apart because the Dark Ages.
I don't think laws should legislate anything to do with your religious or non-religious views.
People are always going to have an input, they're going to put it's going to affect whatever they have to say. That's always going to be a factor. But you mentioned the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages came upon, the earth because of the Black Plague. I don't see the connection with religion there in the Dark Ages.
Well, the Dark Ages went on for like what was it, 1,000 years, 1,500 years? I forget what the
Well, the
exact
Dark
timeline
Ages,
is.
the Dark Ages began when it's considered to begin at the fall of the Roman Empire.
No, no. It was brought on by the Black Plague.
No, that's
No, that
bullshit.
was only a small part of. Someone
No.
Googled
The
Dark
Dark
Ages for me.
The Dark Ages is defined as the period where the Roman Empire ended.
No.
Oh, well, look it up, mate. That's history.
All right. I don't need to look it up.
Okay.
Here, I'm gonna go. If nobody else does, I'm gonna go real quick. Dark Ages.
Yep. The Dark Ages. I'm pretty good on my history, and it was considered at the end of when the Roman Empire fell apart. That was the beginning.
What was it? 2/3 of the population of Europe was wiped out. People couldn't even bury their dead. After that time, there wasn't a lot.
Here we go. The period of Western Europe.
There wasn't a lot written in history.
Hang on.
The fall of the Roman Empire in the High Middle Ages, from circa 500 to roughly 1100 AD. So that's pretty much the period there.
And
that's
what's it?
I said it was.
And the beginning of it says it's at the fall of the Roman Empire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what is considered my history is pretty good, Larry.
Hold on a second. I got to take a leak. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Yep. No worries.
I mean, twice. You're playing with it.
I love history, mate. It's one of my
likewise, and we're kind of on the same page.
And and that's something I've always read, that what they considered to be the Dark Ages was the fall of the Roman civilization.
What you can look at it also is also the time when Christianity, but mainly the Catholic religion, kind of took over all of Europe.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's unbelievable to think, that I mean, I hear it now about America, but I don't think it will happen. But I hear the same thing about America, like now, that they'll go the same way as the Roman Empire, but I can't see it myself.
Well, the Roman Empire basically fell from within. If the USA is to fall, it's probably going to be from within.
And I think that could have happened during the Civil War, and it didn't. I think they really
rebellion as Americans. There's no doubt about that. But
Lincoln was.
Go ahead.
Lincoln was right. United you stand, divided you fall. The fact that the United States remain the United States is what made them the powerhouse that they are today. That's how I see it. I think if America had broken up into a whole heap of little different countries, if the South had won, say, for instance, I think America would be a totally different place today. I think it's the fact that you remained all united. That's why you guys are the powerhouse you are. And I don't see, I mean, lots of things can happen, but I just don't see America falling, that's for sure. I mean, all countries go through bad periods and financial, crashes and all the rest of it, but it's going to take
also, a lot of people like to see a great nation fall too. There's always
oh yeah, we call that the tall poppy syndrome here in Australia. If you get too popular, people want to see you get knocked down.
Yeah, and I think that's happened with you. I mean, I think that's also a real thing. I think some of these people, I don't know what the whole world agenda is with this allowing immigration into countries and this many type agenda. I don't know what it's like. It's trying to break countries apart.
It's the immigration one is a real hard one, but I think at the end of the day, governments have to look at their population and what they can really support. Bringing immigrants into a country where, say, for instance, you have a high unemployment rate, that's crazy. You need to make sure that like say we'll use the US as an example. You want to make sure all US citizens have a job and that the economy is really strong before you start bringing people into your country. I think you need to look after, charity begins at home. Look, Gunnar, anything's possible. It really is. I just don't think it'd be like the point where we end up in the dark ages again. I'm not listening Gummy Bear because listening to him sing is like listening to someone drag their nails down a blackboard.
Unless there's Thunder, unless there's an atomic war, then we might be in the dark ages again.
That's a possibility. I mean, yeah, you could always have that, but I'm not so sure the big, say, say the US, Russia, China, the Europeans as such. I don't think any of them are ever going to have a nuclear war. If it did happen, it'd happen from some idiot like that guy in North Korea, maybe. I don't see the big countries. They know better. And let's face it, Russia and America had this out a long time ago in the Cold War. What was the point? We fire 100 nukes at you. You're going to fire 100 nukes back at us. Who wins? Nobody. It's a no-win situation, really. Yeah, but
you can think, you know what? A lot of this tension is brought on by fossil fuels, but with this fracking, like the U.S. is now a exporter, of oil because of this fracking. You would think some of these political hostilities that came about because of fossil fuels. The pressure would be eased around the world.
Well, let's face it. There's no real pressure there. If the fossil fuel thing it's a joke because at the moment there's still plenty of oil there. They just limit supply when they feel like raising the price. That's all they do. I mean, Australia, I don't know if you guys know, and I've heard this about America too. I've heard America has huge reserves that they don't use. Australia has the same, heaps of untapped reserves that they don't use. We're getting most of oil through the Middle East and whatever, and they'll limit supply when they want to up the price of it. I mean, look at back in the 70s, remember there was the big fuel thing, the big fuel crisis. Well, now we're, 40-something years on from that, and, there's still heaps of fuel for everybody. But
were you guys affected by the Arab embargo of '73?
Oh, mate, I was too young to remember. Oh, I was, way too young to remember that. I just remember it happening, and I remember why it stopped the big V8s being made and shit like that. But I really can't remember how it impacted us, Larry.
I remember the gas lines. I mean, I was a kid too, but I remember lining up to get gas,
But look how bad it was back then. But we're 40 years on, and there's plenty of fuel left still. So back then, it was it was just a lot of bullshit going on.
I read about a year or so ago along those lines how we used to use, I forget, the exact numbers, how many millions of gallons we used in the 70s and 80s versus today, which we use a lot less oil overall. But even though there's more vehicles and everything else, so we've become more efficient with using with oil also.
Oh yeah, look at the engines, man. You used to be lucky if you get 100,000 miles, out of a car. Now, you can get 100,000 miles out of a cheap car.
Yeah, easily, probably more than that. We've had taxi cabs over here that have had 1 million kilometers on them. They've run for 1 million kilometers. So, but I think the oil thing is a bit of a farce. They play with the market all the time.
Yeah, they definitely play with the market, but I mean, there's got to be X amount of oil in the world. I mean, eventually it's got to run out. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but I mean, we can't go on for thousands of years.
The thing they're trying to really slam us with, we got the fracking now. It kind of loosened things up a little bit.
Fracking, fracking is a thing over here that is a big deal at the moment because it's being investigated because it's very possible that fracking is a dangerous method of obtaining gas and shit out of the ground.
Yeah,
and I know
I knew they were going to try to mess it up.
Well, it's not a matter of messing it up, mate. If it's a dangerous process and it's going to affect the environment, then you need to look at it, Larry.
Yeah, I agree. But if it's done properly, I mean, they what you're talking about is they when they do fracking, they put a concrete casing down in the earth all the way to the bedrock. And if they mess up that casing, yeah, then it could leak out into the groundwater. You could have a problem with pollution. But if they do it properly, it's
well,
I think it's a blessing.
Have you seen?
The point I was trying to make is what they're really trying to stick us with now is this carbon tax, this worldwide carbon tax.
That's ridiculous.
They're going to try to bilk the people with the carbon tax, and it's just it's unbelievable. Yeah, the weather's changing, but that's what happens. Our weather changes.
Yep. I've seen a guy who actually works for one of our science departments here, and politicians said that this certain science department was talking about how global warming is happening and it's really bad. Well, the actual scientists from that department come out and said, no, we never said that. It's all bullshit. And he said that the reason why more facilities, more universities and that don't come out and talk against the global warming is because they would lose their funding if they don't follow the government line.
The Rothschilds are pushing that global carbon tax.
Here we go. Face Runner said fracking is using mesh sand for drilling, not concrete. But
no, they use a concrete casing. You're right. They do use sand, but they make like a well casing when they go down to the bedrock. And if that casing leaks, then your groundwater can be polluted, and other bad things can happen.
I've seen enough evidence for me to say that it needs to be investigated more. But when people open up their taps, run water out, can put a match to it, and they got flames running out of their water taps. You seen that, Larry?
Oh, you need to. You need to look at that one again. That one's already been proven like a false.
A hoax.
That's just well, not a hoax, but just
it was already happening before the fracking.
Yeah, natural gas occasionally leaks into aquifers and stuff. They come to prove that, or at least one of the cases, that was the cause.
Yeah. But I mean, there's enough evidence there for me to say that it does need to be looked at a little bit further. Because let's face it, at the end of the day,
I looked into it a couple of years ago. It's well, first of all, drilling, doing anything, there's always dangers with all of it. But it seems to be safer, from what I've read, than some of these drilling 2 miles down in the water and having oil leaks in the ocean. I mean, those things could happen with fracking, but it seems to be overall a little more safer option.
My biggest worry is, I guess, and I'm skeptical, but is that oil companies don't give a shit about anything other than making money. It's all about the dollar.
I agree. I agree with you.
It's a dollar thing, so all they're worried about is their stocks and their shares. And I'll tell you what I'm really surprised at is that America's use of solar power is just ridiculously low, especially when you got states like Texas and California, where solar power would, it would be the way to go. I mean, it's a growing technology here.
Expensive here to get a system set up.
Yeah, but if it's expensive, it's probably because of taxes that are put on there by the government
Do
to
you guys
deter it.
drill?
Because
You
it's
got
not
oil in
controlled. Yeah.
Australia? Do you guys drill there?
Mate, we got oil coming out of our ass that we don't use, don't even tap into. We know it's there, we're not using it. Because you know why? The reason why is because all these countries work together, and if we dumped a whole heap of oil onto the market, the price would go down.
Well, strategic wise, as a country, like if I was to control a country, I would want to use up the world's resources before I use my own.
That
There's
seems
that
to be,
aspect of it also.
yeah, that seems to be what does happening. Yeah, sorry, Steve, it's probably the wrong way to put it. Yeah, I thought you might like that one, Larry.
I just noticed what you're saying.
No, I guess that's a Aussie saying, you know, when there's lots of it, it's yeah, coming out of our ass. But you know, there's definitely some issues whenever it comes to these oil companies, and because the mighty dollar does overrun everything else, unfortunately. Yeah, good on you, Gunner. It's good for 1,000,000 miles. How you doing, Ian?
We have a few freshman politician, congressmen that are socialists over here, and they're against capitalism. Capitalism seems to have driven, everything's about the almighty dollar, but that drives the economy. That drives progress.
I got an issue with that too, Larry. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think capitalism, you know, it does what makes it does allow, you know, it gives people encouragement to improve things. But even America has laws to sort of put a hold on capitalism. Like you got to be careful that capitalism doesn't become a monopoly. People don't start monopolizing things and then controlling everything. So capitalism is good, but it does need to be controlled.
Yeah, look at what they did to Standard Oil. I mean, that just made the Rockefellers more powerful, and it made them more money. If you look back at history, what
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to
I've seen
Standard
that.
Oil?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read. Oh, sorry, I didn't read. I watched a documentary on it actually.
you probably watched the same one I did.
His old man was the biggest con man ever going.
He used to cheat his own kids,
Yeah,
to make up.
to teach him a lesson, he said.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. But um, let's just go to say the media. We know the media is a big problem at the moment, and if you allowed one person to control all the media in the US, you're only going to get one view on things. He can hide what he wants from you, tell you what he wants you to hear. That's why I'm saying, you know, capitalism is good, but you need to control it. And I think the anti-monopolization rules that America have are fantastic, and they need to be in place because
No,
capitalism
but
does
they
need to be
need to.
controlled.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, and you brought up the media. The media is controlled by a handful of people because it is a monopoly, and they could start right there with the media. Breaking up some of these conglomerates.
Well, they should. They definitely should.
Look at
Uh,
okay, look at Goebbels. During the Nazis, the power of propaganda, and that's the mainstream media. That's what you're looking at. They're not reporting the news. It's like a show to try to engineer the way you think.
well,
And
they try and change your beliefs.
yeah, they're trying to engineer your thinking.
Yep, definitely. I agree, 100%. Um, and that's why, you know, that they do need those anti-monopolization rules.
That's why they started to attack some of the right wing radio stations and some of the right wing Breitbart and some of the right wing internet news outlets because they got everything else wrapped up and they can't control some of these smaller entities.
Well, I'll tell you what, like we've talked about this before, technology is good and a bad thing. But one of the good things, I guess, has been the internet, where a lot of stuff does get through. I mean, because of the internet, we seen what Snowden had to say, and hey, Ivy, how you doing? Hey, Nathan. You know, imagine if someone like Snowden had come out and there was no internet and it was just up to the media. The media would never have put that stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know, and I think that the guy, instead of being treated like a criminal, really should be, as a whistleblower, treated like a hero.
Look at this guy that's staying in the embassy in London. What the hell's his name? Assange?
Yeah, the WikiLeaks guy. Yep.
Yeah, he's been living in the embassy. They'll
Again,
probably kill him if he ever gets out.
well, that's another bullshit thing. Like bring up Trump charges on him after he releases information that none of it was false. It was all true. It's just that the American government didn't want people to hear about it. That's so wrong, Larry.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, whistleblowers should be hailed as heroes, not as criminals. Now you got that guy stuck in a embassy in the UK. You got another guy, Snowden, who's now got to live in Russia. I mean, it's crazy. All for coming out and telling the truth and telling people what they really did need to know. I think the American public deserve to know exactly what their government were doing behind their backs.
I tell you what, did you see that movie Snowden? He made it out of there by the skin of his ass, man. He was lucky he made it to Russia from Hong Kong.
Yeah. Yep. But it's sad that it's like that. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, and I can't remember which US president it was, whether it was Obama or someone before him, was saying that you need whistleblowers and that they should be protected. And here they are hammering these guys.
Yeah.
I don't. It just goes to show. I mean, we as a society, Australian or European or American, we're so complacent. We should be up in arms that, one, that the governments are doing these things, and two, that the guys that are letting us know it's happening are being treated like criminals. We should let them know.
The general public does not give a shit.
No, complacent. So complacent these days. And I think that's how the government want you.
Agreed.
And that's why it worries me with the media, and you don't want anyone to monopolize the media because you're only ever then going to get one view of things. And it's probably a little bit like that now anyway. I think, like Larry said, it should be split up even into smaller groups. You should only let it own so many %, and that's that. At the moment, the percentages are too high of what they're allowed to own in the media. I mean, you look at Murdoch and Packer, what they own. It's ridiculous.
Well, look at how the media can be swayed. Okay, if you remember back before they invaded Iraq, there was very little dissension, against it. I mean, CNN was for it, Fox was for it. Everybody was, all the mainstream media, they were all for it.
Yeah, without ever really knowing the real facts. How you doing, Linda? Good morning. Yeah, and yeah, that was one of the biggest farces ever because nothing. I don't have anything good to say about Saddam, but except that maybe he kept the Middle East in check as far as terrorism went. But the excuses they used to go in there were just non-existent. The fact that they removed a legitimate leader of a country uh, like they did is that's a dangerous precedent to set.
Well, that's kind of stretching it. Legitimate news eyes down
No,
the
no,
barrel of a gun, maybe. But yeah, I just say that wasn't our fight, man. We shouldn't have. There was more good by leaving him in office than taking
yes,
him out. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, there's not a lot of good things you can say about the guy, but he did keep the terrorist part of it in check.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't an angel by any stretch of the imagination, but I think what the world needed was to maybe throw embargoes on him and make life hard for him to adjust his attitude. It's worked for other countries at times.
Now, didn't they kill Gaddafi? I heard something about because he wanted to get off the petrodollar. He wanted to come up with his own gold currency or something, and
Well, he
that's
did.
why.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. He did something that the US didn't want him to do, and so they took him out. Again, you know, no one seems to be bringing that shit up. I mean, in some cases, and I've always been pro-American, but in some cases, the American government have acted like terrorists, um, which scares me about Hillary Clinton because if she got into power, you would have had one of America's biggest criminals in charge of the most powerful country in the world.
Oh yeah.
Now that's scary.
Yep. They never expected Trump to win. I mean, we were talking about the media. Look at how the media did him. Before he won. Oh, he's got no chance. We're gonna be so. I laughed like hell. I was watching the Young Turks. When Trump won, and they were crying. They were screaming their ass off.
Yeah, yeah.
All the media was said that he's got no chance, and you're out of your mind. He's gonna win, and
we had this attitude of we're doomed now, and none of it's come true. In fact, if anything, Trump's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he has, well, from what I've seen anyway, is America seems to be on the up at the moment with him at the head of that country. He does seem to, genuinely have good intentions and want to do things for the country and for the people rather than do things that are helping the big company. He does seem to, hey, Crystal, he seems to really have good intentions in what he's doing.
yeah, you know what, Thunder? I'll tell you what. I voted when I got out of high school for Ronald Reagan. Okay, and after Reagan, I never voted for anybody. I didn't think there was anybody worth my time standing in line, to vote for. When Trump came along, I went to the Secretary of State. I registered. All my friends registered. Everybody that I knew was voting for Trump. And we're steady hearing on the news, oh, he ain't going to make it. There's no chance. And
Yeah. Yeah, Higanti, yeah, a lot of things we don't hear because the media doesn't want to put it out there. Both of those guys, I think, as far as I'm concerned, they were terrorist acts against them.
do you guys got to show ID when you vote in Australia? You have to prove your citizenship.
Oh, you have to be a citizen to vote. And
Well, do you have to prove
what
it?
happens? What happens, mate, is you go on what they call the electoral roll. So you register to vote, and then when you go to vote, your name is already on that electoral roll, and they cross it off as you vote.
See, that's what we need to do here. You know, people should be made to prove that they're citizens before they're allowed to vote. But the Democrats don't want that. That's why they want more people sneaking across the border.
Yeah,
you know, Obama got up there and said, "I'm not going to say, you know, that you're going to get caught if you." You know, he was like encouraging people who were not citizens to vote. It's on YouTube. You can see them.
No, in Australia, you have to be a citizen and you have to be on the electoral roll to vote. The only difference here, I mean, from the US, is that it's actually compulsory to vote here. You'll get fined. I think it's $50, maybe $70 if you don't vote. You have to vote. Everyone is. You don't have to actually. You can go in there and just sign off your name and walk out straight away without actually voting for anyone, but you have to turn up.
I also saw a video of Obama when he was campaigning for Hillary. He was talking about Trump. He says, he keeps saying he's going to bring back these jobs. How's he going to do it? Does he have a magic wand? You know, Obama's running his mouth. And then after Trump got the economy going, now Obama's saying, well, this recovery started when I was in office. You know, he's trying to take credit for it.
No, that's what. See, a lot of people just don't understand how the economy works. A lot of things that Obama did are probably only just starting to affect the country now. So he's probably done some good things, but because they're happening now, you'll get the current president taking the credit for it. But you know, even some stuff that Trump is doing now, you might not see the effects of it for another 3 to 5 years, maybe, just depending. Yeah, that's right, Higanti. We have the electoral roll to stop the double votes, and the other thing is to make sure that you are an Australian citizen, because you have to be an Australian citizen to vote. You can be a resident of Australia, but if you're not a citizen, you don't have the right to vote. Well, that's not racism. It's just, to me, Steve, it's a fair thing that only citizens should be allowed to vote. Just because you're a resident of a country, I don't think it should give you the right to vote. And that's just my opinion. Yeah, I don't know if you know, Larry, too. We got the Raging Cajun is back in town too.
Yeah, what's he reinvented himself?
Yep, he's got a new channel. He's got a new channel. Yeah, I know, Stephen, and that's just wrong to do that. He's got a new channel. It's called the Raging Cajun. You guys, if you want, I can put the. Hang on, I'll put the link to his new channel so you can all sub to him. He seems to be going hard on the trolls, which I'm not so sure that's a good idea, because you start banning them all the time, and they're just going to make life hard for you anyway. You know, certain people you don't want in your streams at all. Others, I think you're going to have to sort of bear with, as long as it doesn't get nasty. Okay, guys, I'm going to put the link in here. That's the link to the Raging Cajun's channel, if you want to jump on there and subscribe to him. Ivy, that is Larry, expat prepper. He's married to a Filipina. He lives in Negros in the mountain area. He has a channel if you want to check him out. He shows his life with his wife and son, and they have a farm, and yeah, nice guy, and does some interesting videos. If you want to type in the chat, Larry, guys people can then sub to your channel if they want to keep a track of what's going on your farm, mate.
Okay.
So, guys, Larry will type in there. Just press on the 3 dots, go to his channel, and you can. There he goes. There, expat prepper. That's the guy with the dog. And if you want, you can sub to his channel and see his farm life there. It's there, Gene, where he said hi. Just press on the 3 dots on the side of his name, and it will allow you to go to his channel, and you'll be able to sub to him and check out his videos. He's got a pretty good life up there in the mountains in Negros with his family. Does his own thing. Some interesting videos. Nice guy. So go check him out, guys.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be in Damagetti on 14th, the 13th. So we got to talk.
Oh, Gene, that's lazy. You just got to press on the 3 dots. But just for you, I'll put the link to his channel in there. Here we go.
I got to update my passport.
Okay, the next link is to Larry's channel. Yeah, Face Runner. I believe that Focus will do, or is now the Raging Cajun. I believe he will do shows again. But I got from what he said, he's not going to put up with any of the trolls. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at what Higanti's writing. Yeah, I could come a little early because as long as I renew it by the 16th, that's my deadline, I could renew it a little early. You say you got a party or something going on the 12th? Is that what you said?
I think he's got a pig ready to turn into lechon, mate.
Yeah, you can come here anytime, Higante. You're on my Facebook. But yeah, if you got something going in Damagetti, I could come there a couple days early. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the 12th is he's having the house blessing or something, and having a lechon and drinks, obviously.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
What's going on with our Texas stud, mate? He's a bit quiet.
Oh man, I'm hammering away in here.
Oh, he's still there.
So I heard Lost. I heard you say you went to Colombia before.
Yeah, that's where I pretty much stayed.
Okay, I went there a while back for a visit. That place was crazy, man.
Here's I'll talk. My thing open. Slaving away.
Well,
bathroom.
You got to remember, Larry. Lost married a Colombian girl.
Oh, okay, got you.
Oh yeah. I guess that's. Yeah, so I've been traveling to Colombia now for 8 years. Usually the holidays we go there for a month. We didn't go this past year because the family came here, but looks like now we're going there in May. So be there for like a month.
You take Avianca?
A lot of times I'm in Austin here. Most of the time it's JetBlue or American Airlines. I have flown Avianca before, but since I've been living in Austin, I haven't taken them in a couple of years, I guess.
Sorry, guys. I'm eating cold pizza. A bachelor breakfast.
Yeah. Breakfast with champions.
Oh, goodness.
back. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think my phone was silent on there. So I think it does it every once in a while, just so I don't hear anything for a moment.
You're still working at the same house, the private job?
Yeah, well, I started this one just yesterday, so I'll be here for a couple weeks on this particular job.
Are you a mud guy or a drywall man?
I am a remodeler. I do all of it. Well, actually, I don't really do the finishing anymore. I have someone else that does that. I don't do the plumbing, obviously, but I do all the other stuff. So I was just showing a picture in here. Oh, hold on, turn the camera back on. Here we go. So click on me. So putting the bathroom in here, putting all the walls up at the moment.
Oh,
And,
okay.
So yeah, this will be a bathroom within 2 weeks time.
You know, over here in the Philippines, they don't have drywall or sheetrock, whatever you want to call it.
I'll tell you what, most other countries don't. They don't have them in Colombia. It's all like the Philippines. It's brick and mortar for the most part.
Yeah, what we did put on the ceiling, it's like, you know, that underlayment stuff you put under tile, that unfinished paneling.
Yeah. I'm talking about.
They put that stuff, and then they tape the seams and put a skim coat over it. But even that underlayment, man, I was looking at where was I? I was somewhere with my wife today, and earlier today, and I was sitting in the Jeep, and they were carrying it to a job site, some of that underlayment, and I was looking how cheap that stuff is, man. It's just they couldn't even sell it in the U.S. You know, and this is like some quality stuff over here in the Philippines.
Yeah, well, we got, the USA has such a good lumber industry. It's just cheaper and easier to do everything wood. Of course, I know we get a lot of sheetrock from China.
Yeah, we use it a lot. Most houses,
Sheetrock, is that what y'all mainly use in Australia?
yeah, we do get solid brick, which is like the brickwork with solid plaster on the inside. But most places now would be the brickwork, then formed up with timber and put sheetrock on the inside, what we call gyprock.
Yeah, gypsum. Yeah.
What we're now getting away from, and I'm noticing it more and more, is rather than timber frame homes, they're now doing steel framed homes.
Yeah.
That was that started to become a thing in the U.S. a couple of years ago. It looks like it's kind of died off. I don't know what's going on with it.
Over here, I guess it's a horses for courses thing. I think in Adelaide, where I'm living, a lot of it gets used because of termites. Obviously, termites can do a lot of damage to the timber. Hey, Amani. So a lot of people now will build with metal frames to avoid the damage down the track from termites.
You know what a lot of people do over here? They'll save their oil when they change their oil, and they'll paint it on their boards to keep the termites from eating it.
Ah, okay.
The stick lumber.
The only time I've ever put oil on any timber is when we formed up for concrete to stop the concrete from sticking to it.
Yeah, it works. I mean, the termites won't touch the wood that's been painted with mortar oil.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, if it works. For a long time here, they used to, in the early days on the railway sleepers, use this stuff called creosote. But what they found is that in temperatures over 25 degrees centigrade, you would get the stuff going into the air and like a vapor and causing cancer.
Like gas? Yeah.
It's like a vapor would come off at 25 degrees. So the railway workers would end up with cancer from this creosote, so they stopped using that.
Hey, can I change the subject real quick? You just reminded me of something that I learned. You know, I got that big garden, and I started having a problem, Thunder, when my tomatoes would start turning red. The bats at night would start eating the red tomatoes.
Shit.
So, you know, I was like, man, so I went on the internet and tried to find out ways, you know, to take green tomatoes, you know, and turn them red. And there was a couple, there's one thing said to take the tomato plant and cut it off, you know, even with the ground and hang it upside down, you know, somewhere and then let the nutrients go out of the tomato plant into the tomato. Well, I'm still waiting on that. But what really worked is this other technique. You take your green tomatoes and you wrap them in newspaper, put them in a box, and then you take like 3 or 4 bananas and you put in the box with the tomatoes and you seal the box up. And when the bananas ripen, they give off some kind of, I forget the name of the gas, but it causes the tomatoes to turn red. And I tried that and it worked. It worked in about a week.
Wow. Well, that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
See, I don't know how you get rid of the bats. I know over here, Italians, what they do with their tomatoes, because of birds and things like that, they'll put plastic bags, tie plastic bags to the plants, or silver paper, which blows around in the wind and scares the birds away. But at night, I'm not sure what you do at night time for bats. Not a problem we have here. Gary, yeah, Larry, gas them.
What about Larry? Have you tried the like doing the like the fishing line real tight? It does scares away bats and birds from understanding. You tie lines around it, they won't fly around the thing because it makes some type of vibration sounds. You'll see people.
No, I never tried that. I never heard that.
Yeah, actually, you'll see businesses around like beach areas when the seagulls are real bad. They put these wires out. They get them pretty tight. Maybe look at that, and it does something. It'll keep the birds away. I think it also.
Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I'll tell you another thing that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to research that because I got a lot of time on my hands. You know what I'm starting to study now, and what we're learning, and I think it's really fascinating. I'm learning about grafting and cloning. You can take any kind of today we were over at we bought our father-in-law's farm, and he has a bunch of avocado trees over there he planted like 60 years ago. And I found out you can take cuttings from those trees and you scrape the bark, back a little bit to the layer of skin. And you can use aloe vera for rooting compound, or you can use honey. And you stick them in some soil and it'll grow a tree.
I never heard those, but yeah, I know how to clone, but I just used to buy a cloning solution to do that. And you can pretty well do it with any hard-stemmed plant.
Yeah, I guess the cloning solution is to stop microorganisms from attacking, the wound,
you stop the disease. It stops, from any rotting or disease, and it encourages the growth.
Yeah, and I looked it up. I guess back in ancient times, they used to take honey and put it on a wound because
it's a natural.
It won't grow.
Yeah, it's a natural disinfectant, Larry. How you doing, Trusty? I'll tell you what's another one. Another one, and people, for some reason, I don't know why this is not more popular, but there's this stuff called sphagnum moss, which is a really, really high-grade disinfectant, antibacterial shit. I'm not sure why people don't use it more, but it's I don't know if you've even heard of it before, Larry. Sphagnum moss.
Sphagnum moss? No,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it. You know, I started looking up alternatives for rooting compound, or what do they call it? Hormone, rooting hormone. Because my wife ordered some from Lasada, but man, it's been like weeks we've been waiting for this order. That's like a specialty product. Certain things over here in the Philippines, it looks like you can order them, but it takes, I don't know what it is. It takes a long time. So, I found out aloe vera works, and also honey, and some people even use cinnamon. I guess that's a antifungal that'll work for rooting.
I've never heard that. Yeah. It's a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joshua, it's a natural disinfectant and antibacterial gear. Yeah, that's true, Trusty. Honey is, yeah, Nathan, honey is a natural one. The same like the sphagnum moss. And um, I think I've got to try and remember this now. It might have been the Scots, because if you got a sword wound back in the days, you'd pretty well die from the infection if the blow didn't kill you. But they found that putting sphagnum moss on there um, uh, warded off any infections. So, but it's just a natural plant, and it's I think, to me, anything that's natural is the way to go. If you can, get something that works really well. Another one is tea tree oil that we get over here. It's a natural one as well. Nathan probably knows that one.
I tried that tea tree oil. I put on. I got one toenail on one of my feet. You know how old people get those. Your toenails start like toenail rot or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's pretty bad. So I saw on the net, if you take tea tree oil and treat that, it'll go away. But shit, it never did. I went through 3 bottles putting that on my toenail.
Yeah, it depends on what actually is affecting the toenail, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure where the sphagnum moss comes from, but obviously, I think I remember reading something about the Scots using it, and they do make a natural product over here that you can buy sphagnum moss from a certain company, and it's great if you've got allergies or sensitive to chemicals and that. You can use that. Chiggers. Oh, Joshua, I remember chiggers from when I was in Oklahoma. God damn. Haven't heard that for years. Chiggers. I remember I was helping an older fella put some bolts in the bottom of a caravan, or it was just a van that he should cart his show car around in. And rather than him get on the ground, I went and got on the ground and started putting the bolts in for him. And then his wife said, "Oh, just watch out for chiggers." And I'm like, "What the hell? What's a chigger?" I'm looking around looking for a snake or something. They're these little bugs that burrow into you. Jesus. Yeah, it was funny. Chiggers. Man, it's been a long time since I heard that.
Are those the ones that give you Lyme disease? Also, I think
Nah, I think that's what are they? Uh, oh God.
Yeah, I think you can catch Lyme disease from chiggers.
I thought it
yeah,
was
if
the.
they bury in long enough or something like that. I thought
Uh,
that was
I thought it was the blood sucking things.
Leeches?
leeches.
No, no, not
Maybe then
leeches. Um,
Fleas?
ticks.
ticks. Yeah. Ivy.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's ticks.
We don't get chiggers here, Ivy. I know ticks
Them
you can get it
chicken
from.
leeches or ticks are about the same type of bug.
Yeah, there's lots of good natural shit out there, Trusty. But unfortunately, pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know about that because they're making money, selling you all their man-made chemicals. Yeah, ticks can carry Lyme disease. I guess anything like a tick. But I've heard ticks before and Lyme disease mentioned in the same sentence. So here, doctors are in denial about Lyme's disease. It's ridiculous. I don't know what it's like in America, but definitely in denial over here about it.
How about that mad cow disease? You guys got that in Australia?
Which one?
Mad cow?
No, we don't have it here. We don't have mad cows. We don't have rabies, which is why we're so strict about the importation of any animal into Australia. Anything that if you want to bring even a dog into Australia, it's quarantined for a long, long time before they'll allow it out into general population. And that's fair enough too. Yeah, Joshua, yeah, that's right. Leeches don't, they're more like a slug, really, leeches. And Lyme disease, that's not a very nice thing to have, I tell you. Pretty scary shit.
You know
Hell,
they're having a problem over here with dengue fever. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
dengue fever, yeah, I have. Yep. It sounds pretty horrible, actually.
Yeah.
It's fairly similar to like a malaria, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. It's spread through mosquito bites.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's not nice. That's for sure.
My kid just got rabies shots. He got bit by a stray dog
Oh shit.
the other day.
Oh, okay, Ivy. I've never heard of it. A Tungor.
He was he was going for a walk. He had his dog with him, and the stray dog came up and started fighting with his dog. And he went to grab his dog, and pick it up, and he got bit. So he's got to have four rounds of shots. He's had two so far.
Wow.
Take him in the morning for the third one.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Yeah. The rabies is one of those things. It's not nice. And I believe that there's two types of rabies too in the US. One's fairly treatable, and the other one not so much. So.
Yeah, we don't know that the dog has rabies.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to take the chance.
Right.
That's the problem.
There's so many stray dogs in this area, man. When I go for a walk, I take a walking stick. It's not so much to prop me up when I'm walking. It's to poke these stray dogs coming around to pick a fight with my dog.
Yeah, that's the worry about having the American Bulldog, mate. I'd be waking up to dead dogs all the time.
Yeah.
She'd have a fucking ball. She'd love that shit. And I just hate dog fighting, full stop.
Everybody around here seems to have like 2 or 3 dogs, and nobody's got a fence. And when you're walking, especially if you got your dog with you, their dogs come tearing out of their yard, and they're real territorial. And
yeah, it's the same in Thailand. They call them soy dogs. There's street dogs everywhere, and no one seems to. I know they do have groups in Thailand that are working on desexing animals and things like that. But Thailand and Philippines seem to be crazy for just stray dogs walking around everywhere. Oh God, Twisted Riches! Don't say that. I'm surprised. Usually in cold climates, viruses don't usually survive, or they're dormant. Yeah, Ivy. Chiggers, from what I remember, they burrow into your skin. I think the remedy back then was you get something like nail polish and put it over where the chigger entered, and that will kill them off. But guys like Larry and Lost and the guys in the chat there in the US would probably know more about the chiggers than I do. Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong, Nathan. That's just horrible doing that. Yeah, that's a worry, Tristan. But, geez, if people are poisoning dogs, Nathan, someone needs to act on that. That's a bullshit act. Yeah. I mean, same person that's probably bloody poisoned them is the same person that happy to let a dog run around as a stray anyway. So, you know, people are the problem, not the animals. I have to admit, the Thais are pretty good with their stray animals, and I've seen a few vlogs from people over there where they actually, a lot of the Thais will feed the strays. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Nathan. Yeah, but Thai people are pretty good. But I guess being Buddhist, um, they're pretty good with animals.
You know, my dog cracks me up. First of all, let me say this: I feed him the most expensive dog food I can get my hands on. You know, over here in the Philippines. But he'll eat anything, Thunder. He likes coconut. He likes sliced tomato. He likes cucumber. Anything I'm eating, the dog he'll want it, and he eats it.
That's unusual to eat tomato and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fairly unusual. The most expensive dog food you can get over here is called Eukanuba, and that's expensive as. It's a dry food that it's yeah, ridiculously expensive.
I feed them this stuff called pedigree, and it's wait a minute, 2,200 pesos a sack for a big bag.
2,000 pesos. I'm not sure what that is.
2,200 pesos for a sack.
Yeah. What would that be in American dollars?
Asking me to do my math here. Let's see. I'm on a different computer here. Okay, wait, calculator. Okay. 1 second. Okay. 2,000.
Oh, yeah, I understand that, Joshua, but I don't think poisoning is a great way to control them. I mean, the problem is the people themselves who let their dogs run around as strays. And people are the cause.
41.50.
Yeah, that's fairly. That's probably a mid-range price, I guess, over here. But Eukanuba would probably be 3 times that for a decent bag of it. It's ridiculously expensive. And it's hard to get as well. Only a few places stock it over here.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah. If it's and I mean over there, that's probably expensive for dog food. So you're not going to find many places stock it because they're not going to have a high turnover of it, Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, rice, believe it or not, Nathan, rice has very limited nutritional value. So it's fine to feed the dogs rice. I use it as a to mix things up, really. But there's no real there is very tiny, but not a lot of nutritional value in rice.
My dog loves coconut. Eats coconut about every day.
Well, I had dogs when I was living at my dad's house, when I was living at home, and Dad had a walnut tree and fruit trees everywhere. They would eat the oranges, the lemons, the walnuts. They were crazy. It used to be funny watching them eat the lemons because they would bite into the lemon and they would jump around like, just been bitten by something and then go back for another one. Dogs are funny, but just finding my girl's just a little bit of an anchor at the moment, but we'll get over that. Yeah, well, Ivy, that's yeah, rice does basically turn to sugar once you eat it.
And my wife came up with the best garlic bread recipe.
What recipe?
Garlic bread
Oh, okay, all right.
takes 2 bulbs of garlic, not cloves, bulbs. Peels them and puts puts them in the Vitamix, the mixer,
Yep.
and then puts the water in there. She's gonna put in the flour, the water she puts in there, the sugar, and the salt and the yeast, and turns that thing on and liquefies everything. And then she mixes it, that liquid, pours it in with the flour, and then mixes it together, and then covers it up, lets it sit for about an hour and a half, and it doubles in size. Then
Yeah.
she pours it in an iron skillet, cast iron skillet that's been oiled, and pops it in the oven, and it comes, after about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. Man, that's the best garlic bread you ever had in your life.
Yeah, over here what we'll do is you can get garlic butter, and so you just get a nice French stick or something like that, and just slice that and put the butter in between it and put it in the oven, and you can make your own garlic bread. My son loves it, man. I used to eat it, but not so much these days.
The other day, she had her nephew go out and cut a piece of bamboo. It was about the size of a V8 can, a small V8 can or tomato paste can, and she put that in the center of the skillet and poured the bread dough around it, and then baked it. She pulled it out of the oven. She pulled the bamboo out of the center. It had like a donut hole. So she filled that hole with tomato paste,
All right.
and you cut yourself a slice of that garlic bread, and then you got that red tomato paste in the center. Man, that was delicious. Put that on the bread a little bit.
Jesus. No wonder you're always eating, Larry.
She's a good cook, man.
That's good, though. It sounds like she's adventurous, too, tries new things.
If she don't know how to cook it, she goes online, researches it, and then, yeah.
No, that's good. 'Cause, I mean, especially since over there, and I might be talking out of place here, but it seems that their diet over there is pretty limited, normally.
Yeah, it's not so much in the city, but where we're at, yeah. Like spices, it's hard to get spices. They're out of stock a lot of times, and then when they do have them, they're like at half strength because I don't know, maybe because it took so long to get out here to the province or whatever. So we ordered seeds. We're gonna grow our own spices, basil and oregano and everything. We're working on right now making a big old flower bed, to plant them in.
Yep. Larry's channel is Expat Prepper. He did put his name in there a bit earlier. Larry, if you want to say hi again in the chat, when Larry says hi, Ivy, if you go across, you get the 3 dots appear. If you press on those 3 dots, it'll allow you to go to his channel, and then you can subscribe. There you go. Now, if you go over to the end, you'll get 3 dots appear. If you press on those 3 dots, it will allow you to go to his channel, Ivy, and you'll be able to subscribe and then check out Larry and his family and his farm that he has there in Negros.
We started growing turmeric.
Oh, turmeric's good stuff, mate.
They call it over here, it's called Dulao. Dulao, that's the Visayan name for turmeric.
Turmeric's one of those things that's really good for you. In fact, every time that we would have rice at home, we used to put turmeric in the water and cook the rice in it, and you'd end up with a yellow rice, but it does put a nice flavour to things, and it's very good. Okay, that's all right, Ivy.
Oh, hey, Ivy.
Yeah, Larry is Expat Prepper.
Yeah, I see Gigante. The Philippines has the best peanut butter. They do have some good peanut butter here. In fact, that's next on the list. I bought some vanilla extract. I'm going to get my wife to make me some peanut butter fudge. We didn't freeze up, did we? Audio. Uh-oh, I think we lost the thunder. Waiting for people to join the video call. Here, let me look in the text. Can you guys still hear me?
We back?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, just lost Google Hangouts there for a second. I think had an interruption in the internet. Oh, jeez. The Lost left a bit earlier, so like I said, he might be on his way home or just busy working.
I see you got a new logo picture there, Thunder.
Yeah, I just threw that up there quickly. Something different, mate.
Hey, I told my son what you told him, about his thumb when he's playing.
Yep.
And he said, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I mean, someone was saying with certain chords it doesn't matter. I think like the bar chords and that, but if you're playing open chords and things like that, well, actually no, I think it might be the opposite way around. When you play bar chords, it's very important to have your thumb behind the neck. Open chords, it's not so important, but I think it's a good habit to get into anyway, to have that thumb behind the neck of the guitar.
Yeah.
But
No,
mate, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's doing well. He's doing well anyway.
That kid, I mean, I never really was interested in playing an instrument. He could play. He plays the drums pretty good. He plays the drums, ukulele, guitar, and the violin. I bought him a violin, and he's not too good on the violin. He's still trying to learn that. He's out of. I guess he's got to get some wax or something. He told me to put on the strings or something that you got to treat your strings with on the violin with some kind of wax or something. He's out of.
Yeah, I can't help you with the violin, mate. never even attempted a violin. But obviously he's got an ear for music, a bit of talent there. So
yeah, you know, he gets up there and he sings. He's in the choir at church. You know, he's not afraid to get up in front of people. And I guess that's the Filipino blood in him. You know, I don't want to sound like a racist or that, but Filipinos are known for their singing ability. You know, if you're Filipino and you can't sing or play some kind of guitar or some kind of instrument, there's something wrong with you.
well, yeah, some of them, yeah, they do have a bit of talent there. But I'll be blunt here and honest. A lot of times when they're singing, they might think they sound good, but they don't sound all that good, really.
Well, I've seen that. Sometimes people, you know, they go to these karaoke bars and they start drinking, or they'll have a karaoke, you know, machine at someone's house. And the more they drink, the more, you know, they believe that they could sing better and better.
But the one thing I would say is that they do all love to sing.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
they can actually sing, whether they can sing well or not is debatable, but they all do love to sing. Probably Thailand seems to be the same too, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, and you know what? Like the States, I don't know if it's like that in Australia, but if somebody tried to sing, unless they were a really good singer, people are going to be heckling them, you know, making jokes. But you don't really see that over here. Somebody could be a bad singer, you know, and everybody just, you know, they keep it to themselves, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think it's just it's, like Americans with their football. You know, so many Americans love football, and over in the Philippines, it seems to be singing. It's a pastime for these guys. It's I don't know. Karaoke is just crazy over there. Same in Thailand, but maybe even more so in the Philippines.
You know, that's one thing that's one of the first things that I noticed, you know, when first time I came over to the Philippines, you know, I got out in the province, I saw, you know, how loving everybody was. And the people didn't have a lot of money, you know, but the family was real close, and they knew how to have a good time, you know. Without a lot of money, somebody would get a couple fish, you know, and they'd build a little fire, and someone pull out a guitar, and they'd start singing, you know, and be cooking up the fish, you know, in their yard or whatever, you know, and if you come walking by, they'd invite you over, you know, here, have you know, maybe they had a bottle of tanduay or something, here, have a shot or a beer, you know, and have some fish with us. You know, the people are just, you don't see that in the States, that kind of behavior. The people are so friendly and so kind.
Sorry, guys, I just had to refresh the page because none of the messages were coming through. I'm just going back through now to see what's going on.
I'm back.
Hey, how you doing?
Larry, were you saying you don't see the kindness in the USA anymore? You kind of came in the middle of that conversation.
No. What I said was one of the first things that I noticed in the Philippines was the how close the family unit was. Compared to the states, it seems like in the states we had this kind of behavior maybe back in the early 70s or when before people's moms, started going to work, when everybody's mom was a stay-at-home mom and the family unit was tight and people sat down together and, ate dinner together. Now everybody's running their own way.
Yeah, Ganti. Yeah, you hear some Filipinos that got lovely voices and really sing well, but then others, yeah, not so good.
Ivy said, look what Ivy wrote. It's not so much closeness, it's codependency. Hey, Ivy, are you Americanized Filipina? Do you live in the Philippines or the U.S.? I don't know. I took it as closeness, Ivy. I'm not really taking issue with you. The way I seen it, it was, it was something that touched my heart. It was warm and loving, family bonds that are kind of scarce in the U.S.
I definitely think Filipino families are closer than Western families these days. It's not the same anymore. Not when I was growing up, anyway. If you want the link, Crystal, I'm going to put it in there. I'll leave it in there for a little bit, and then I'll remove it. If you want to use it to come on, up to you. Your choice. But you're right about one thing, Larry, is you don't need money to have fun, and I guess because of that, maybe it's why Philippines families are a little bit closer, and maybe it is that codependence, like Ivy said.
Well, another thing, Thunder, it seems like maybe because it's a warmer climate here, I don't know, but neighbors talk to each other. Maybe it's because they ride jeepneys together, and in the States, if you speak to your neighbor too much, they look at you like you're trying to scam them some kind of way. What, like, why are you talking to me?
Oh, I'm sure that there's a lot of that. I'm sure there's a lot, and it's sort of happening here as well. People tend to keeping more to themselves.
Wait, let me see what Ivy wrote. No, I grew up in the Philippines. I got tired of that. No, Larry, it's not. It's one breadwinner gets to play Big Mama or Sir as they have help.
I think I know what she's saying, yeah.
I just know one thing. It seems to me in the States that when the woman went to work and left the household, that started out pretty much in the 70s, in the early 70s, the family unit went to shit.
Hey, Andy, how you doing? Yeah, I've had it for a few weeks now, just messing around. Gotta say, the Raging Cajun is back. He's got he's started a new channel, so if you want to if you type in Raging Cajun, you'll come across his new channel, which is Focus, the new Focus. You can sub to him. He'll be doing shows again. Actually, hang on, Andy. What I'll do is make it easy for you, mate. I'll get the link to his channel and I'll put it in the chat room for you. I know a lot of guys are keen to hear him again.
Hey, Andy. Nice to see you.
Hey, Junior. How you doing, mate? All right, guys. This Focus's new channel. That is the Raging Cajun. He'll be back. Okay, hang on, Lost. I'll put the link back in for this channel. Let's have a look. Yeah, we know he couldn't stay away, mate. He just needed some time off. That's all. There's the Hangouts link, Lost. If you're there, Crystal, you're free to jump on the panel as well.
I'm trying to read what Ivy wrote. Man, I got my laptop in the shop getting repaired. They're putting Windows back on it, and I'm working off a desktop here. And I don't know, maybe the screen's too bright. It burns my eyes, man, looking at this text.
Maybe. Nah, I've still got it in the box sitting there, Junior. Just been slack because everything's working on this one at the moment and can't be bothered bloody transferring shit over to the new one, but I will get the new one going. My son actually gave me a hard time about it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a hard time too, man. You should be get rid of that fireball you got there, and we can play on something nice.
Yeah, I know. Look at Junior giving me a hard time. Jesus Christ, you lazy wanker.
Because it sounds like you might have got
Thanks,
that same
Junior.
one I got, man, and that thing is so nice.
Yeah, well, I should have it out, but just been slack. Yeah, that's right, Nathan. Larry, you should be able to turn the brightness settings down. Guys, I'm just going to go get myself a cold drink. Larry, Lost, if you guys could just hold the show for 5 minutes.
Yep, sure. All
Yeah.
right, let's put porn on here. Let's
Oh shit, that's funny. It's scary too, because. All right, I'll be back soon.
Yeah. Get this channel shut down.
So, Lost, do you eat a lot of Colombian food?
Yeah, I do. I mean, when I'm in the States, I don't eat it quite as much. There is a Colombian restaurant not too far from my house that we go to at least once a month.
I got a good idea about Mexican food, but is there a big difference between Colombian food and Mexican food?
Drastically.
How would you describe Colombian food?
I describe Colombian food as meat and potatoes because they're not really big into spicy food for the most part throughout the country. But like, your typical kind of Colombian dish is usually, some type of meat, rice, beans, plantain, maybe an egg, and, depending on which region of Colombia you're in, they'll, have a couple of different things you'll substitute for it. But that's kind of your normal kind of Colombian dish.
Now, do they eat a lot of fish there in Colombia?
Around the coast, there definitely is a lot of fish, but like up in the mountain regions, like Medellin, Bogota, it's the middle of the mountains there, so you don't see as much fish eating going on.
Yeah. I was in Bogota just for a couple of days. Of shit, I ate. What did I eat there? I ate a lot of Subway.
Yeah, Subway's
I had
expensive in
trouble
Colombia
because of
too.
the language. I thought it would be like the Philippines. Where you could, some people would speak English, and man, I was trying to use my phone to communicate with people, and it's a hard
Actually,
time.
how long ago was that?
A year ago, about a year
Oh,
ago.
really? Wow. Out of most of the country, or out of most of the cities in Colombia, Bogota probably has the most English spoken overall because it's a more of an international kind of hub.
Yeah,
But yeah, some of the other cities, yeah, forget about it. You're not going to get a whole lot of English at all.
yeah. It seemed like I don't know. Like I said, I was just there for like 2 days, but it seemed like the people were a lot more cautious in Colombia. As far as the hotels, with security compared to Manila or the Philippines or Cebu.
Yeah, Bogota is kind of a different city in Colombia compared to the most of them. It's well, besides it being a little cool there. The people are a little more standoffish there. I always compare Bogota to New York City. It's kind of the New York City of Colombia, where it's the people there are just a little more rude. It's like fast-paced life. Just a big city kind of life. Compared to other areas.
Yeah, it really seemed to be a problem. The language over here, I can get around. I mean, not everybody speaks English over here, but I'd say even in the province, the majority of the people speak some English.
Yeah, I
Where
agree. Out of all the countries I've been to, Philippines is by far the easiest to communicate in because
yeah,
even when you get out in the province, and I know that's pretty much kind of where you are. They still have a basic command of English.
yeah. I was looking at the text here.
Passed up my road.
So Hagante is having a, a lechon party, a pig roast on the
Yeah, I heard
12th.
y'all saying something about that earlier. So yeah, I mean, if I was in the Philippines, I would be heading there. But
Yeah, I'm gonna be in town. That's I'm on the other side of the island, but I got to go there before the 16th and update my passport so I
how
can
long does
go
it
a
take?
little
How long
early.
does it take you to? How long does it take you to get to Dumaguete?
Um, typically about 3 hours.
Oh, okay, not too bad.
Yeah, I could get there quicker, but there's so many haphazards along the way. People walking in the road, different things. So you got to kind of be careful. I don't like driving at night here.
Yeah, well, you live there. I would never. I'd only spend a month or so at a time in the Philippines. I wouldn't even dare to try to drive. I won't drive in Colombia either.
But it seems like the biggest problem, and I don't want to sound critical, of the country. Don't get me wrong. I love it over here. I love the people. I enjoy my life over here. But one of the problems is people build their house like too close to the road. It, and
Yeah,
if you
you know
do
what?
that,
A lot of developing nations have that problem, especially when you kind of get out in the rural areas. Man, the Colombians do that too. Man, they will put it right next to the road. And they'll even build these little eateries or restaurants, whatever it is, whatever they're selling. I mean, just like right next to the road, and just kind of the middle of nowhere, and you got buses coming through there, and you can barely walk out the door. You might get hit by a car.
Yeah, and then you get people sitting on the edge of the road or standing in the road. It's like, man, and then if somebody's having a birthday party or something and somebody's been drinking, then they're walking in the road, and there's no a lot of places there's no street lights here, so if cars
Yeah,
are coming from other direction, it's hard to see because of the glare from the lights, and then you get some joker, half drunk walking in the road. It's like, oh man,
yeah.
this is
I tell you what, I almost got that same kind of thing almost happened to me. I was a little tipsy there in Columbia, and of course this place we're right at is right next to the road. There's like a little sidewalk, maybe 3 foot wide, and there wasn't no cars coming. Of course, I wasn't paying attention, but I stepped out there doing whatever I was doing. Next thing I hear is, them slamming on brakes, and, cursing at me in Spanish, and I'm like, oh shit, I got ran the fuck over.
yeah, yeah, it's something, man.
Was that over in Colombia, mate?
Yeah, just not paying attention to my surroundings and kind of sometimes you forget where you are. You get comfortable. You don't realize that when you step out of the door, 2-3 feet away is a road. And
Hey, yeah. How you doing, Brian?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Yeah, let me run to the washroom. Give me a minute here, Thunder. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. I just had to get myself a drink, take the dog out, let her get some water, and run amok outside for a little bit. Hey, Junior, I got to time you out. Yeah, hurry up and introduce him, Linda, before I time him out. What have we got? We got Andy in here, and he's got no wrench. Can't have that. We've got to get Andy a wrench. Uh, 8:30 in the morning, guys. Geez, already been up 3 hours. Always the threat. Oh, Junior, don't make me do it. The problem with you, Junior, is you enjoy it. You're a sick puppy, Junior. Yeah, Junior's a good guy.
Where's Junior at? Is he in the Philippines?
No, he's the US.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see him a lot. He's a good guy.
Okay, Andy. Take care, mate. Oh, how much does she weigh?
Hagante. Did you ever see that video of Hagante on his channel? He's driving across this bridge in Australia somewhere. Probably we're at the Northern Territory. Anyways, the water, it looks like the rainy season or something. The water's coming up over the bridge. It looks like it's about 1 foot, coming, over the bridge. And he's driving across. And I'm like, man, he's taking a chance. I'm thinking, he could get swept down the river. And then he stops in the middle of the bridge, and I see these two big-ass freaking monster crocodiles swimming around in there, just waiting for somebody to get swept downstream. I said, oh, my God.
Yeah, that's the Northern Territory for you. Dry one day, flooded the next.
If you guys want to do something, go to his channel and look at that video.
Joshua, she'd probably be She's the smallest of the three, lightweight wise, build wise, but she'd probably be around 75 kilo, not 75 kilos, 75 pounds, I guess, or around about that. My male, he was around the 50 kilo mark. He was a big boy.
Woof woof.
Oh, he's back. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Oregon.
My Max, man, when he gets excited, I take that tug toy, and he'll bite that thing and start shaking it and growling, and he won't release it. I try to teach after he gets like hyper, I try to teach him out, and once he gets hyper, once he gets like he spazzes out, the only way to get him to release it is if I pick up another toy, and then he'll drop it right away. He always wants the one that I got.
Yeah, they're funny like that. Used to make me laugh when people talk about dogs have lockjaw. Lockjaw is a disease. Dogs that hold on well to things, it's because they have strong jaws and they have that tenaciousness, that drive to not want to let go. But dogs don't have lockjaws. Lockjaw is a disease.
Yeah.
But
I think people just say that meaning that they kind of lock their jaws down onto whatever they're biting.
yeah, well, I've heard it before, and some people actually do believe that their jaws lock, and they don't.
No, they're not like. I think the crocodiles actually can lock their jaws down. I think.
No, they don't either.
Oh, they don't.
No, saltwater croc. No, I don't think alligators do either. Saltwater crocs actually have the twice the biting power of an alligator, and more than a great white.
Wow.
But the thing is with crocodiles, and I believe it's the same with alligators, you could probably use 2 fingers to close their jaws. They don't have any strength opening them. No worries, Linda. Take care. There's no power in their being able to open their jaws. It's all closing power.
I don't know, man. I don't want to get anywhere near those jaws.
Yeah, you don't want to find out, right?
I don't even like that video with Agate. Man, I was like getting the chills on the back of my neck just watching that thing.
Yeah, well, see, where Nathan is up in the territory, that's where you do have to watch out for all the nasties, like you got crocs, and you got the crocs out in your beaches as well as the great whites out there, because crocs, the salties will go out in the salt water and travel to different river systems. Yeah, lockjaw is a disease. Dogs just have powerful jaws, that's all. And the bulldog, especially the bulldog type dogs, will hold on to something. It's just their tenaciousness. But where Nathan is, you got water buffalo, you got scrub bulls, and all the nasties are up there. Pretty well where Nathan is in the Northern Territory. I mean, he's in Darwin, so it's a small town really compared to other cities. But it's almost like the Wild West out there in some ways. It's not an easy place to live in because of the heat and the humidity. Yeah, wild pigs as well, Nathan. I mean, that's why Nathan goes to the Philippines, and the weather's, he's really good with the weather because he's used to a more harsh environment in the Northern Territory. So, the heat and the humidity's not so bad to him because he gets the worst of it in the Northern Territory there. Yeah, Joshua, I've seen some great documentaries on the Wild West as well.
Do you
I
guys?
guess.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
but
No, you go.
I was just going to ask you. Do you guys grow avocados there in Australia?
Mate, I can't think of anything that we don't grow.
Really?
Because we have just about every environment that's that you can imagine in Australia. You know, you got areas that do get snow. Um,
Wait
you,
a minute. You got snow in Australia?
yeah, in parts of Victoria and New South Wales. Yeah, the snowy mountains, and you got Mount Hotham, Mount Buller, Thredbo. Um,
Well, I never
the,
saw
the,
that on Crocodile Hunter.
Is it just like way up in the peaks or whatever? I mean, y'all don't nobody's going snowboarding or like that, are they?
yeah, you can go and do whatever you want up there, mate. They've got plenty of snow in those places. Yeah, there is a season, snow season up in those certain places. Uh, what it is, Ivy, is anything can be brought in, but it's all quarantined before you bring it in. But what people don't realize is we have rainforest here. We've got areas that humidity. We have dry heat. We have deserts. We have moderate climates. We have so many different climates here. Australia is a pretty big place. I mean, it's a bigger area than the US, uh, and we have lots of different climates here. The climate here in South Australia is different to, say, New South Wales or Queensland, which is different again to the Northern Territory.
Yeah, Ivy. I know that goes for the Philippines too. You can't bring seeds to the Philippines.
Yeah, we've got some pretty strict
Most
laws
countries
on
won't
bringing.
allow you to do that. If you when you're coming back into the states, you gotta you know declare all that stuff too. And
It's strict, Ivy, for a reason, because we don't have a lot of the diseases that are prevalent in other countries. So we make it strict so that we control what comes in here, so that we don't bring those diseases in here. It's
actually, what it
like.
boils down to, we quarantine you guys because y'all got all the crazy diseases, and we're trying to keep it all there.
No, actually, we don't. We don't have a lot of the stuff. Like,
Y'all got
it was.
nasty stuff down there. Bunch of
No,
nasty
see,
ass Australians.
we got lots of venomous creatures and creatures with sharp teeth. That's about it.
You know, that's one thing I was talking to my wife about, because I'm into gardening, and there's only like 2 or 3 places where you can order seeds. One of them is the East West Seed Company, and there's a couple other smaller ones, but they're real limited on the variety of seeds. And I was talking to my wife. I said, I don't know why, because there's a lot of people that are, in poverty here in the Philippines, and there's proven vegetables, like beans, the legumes, for example, that people have been growing them in the States. In other part, like in South America, they have a lot of pinto beans and the purple. Have you ever seen the beans? The hulls are purple, and when you break them open, they look like black-eyed peas, but they're pink color, the little eye part. Well, those are proven. I think they originally started in Africa, and they brought them to the States in like the 1700s. But like during the Civil War and stuff, when people didn't have a lot to eat, they lived off of those things, and they go really well with rice. But they don't have them over in the Philippines. And I told my wife, why? The Department of Agriculture, yeah, purple hull peas. Yep, I think it's how you wrote it. The Department of Agriculture over here in the Philippines should be looking into some of these other vegetables, that are grown around the world, that other cultures that don't have a lot of money survive on, that would go good in the climate here.
Yeah, look, it's ridiculous. I'll tell you a good example of that, Larry, is that we grow rice here in Australia now. Water is a commodity over here because it's a very, it's probably the driest continent in the world. Um, I don't see the point, like, as far as I'm concerned, leave rice growing to places like Thailand and the Philippines where you have an abundance of rainfall. We should be importing the rice from those countries and not trying to grow it ourselves. It's crazy. We should be sticking to what we can do well without affecting the environment, and letting those countries, like I said, that have the perfect environment for growing those things, do it, and importing from them.
Yeah.
But growing rice here, to me, it's ludicrous because we're a dry continent. We don't have a great deal of rainfall in a lot of places. Um, I guess there is places where there is lots of water in Australia, but in a lot of places we don't have. And I'd just rather see things like rice grown in those countries where they have a greater rainfall, and I'd rather be importing that sort of thing than growing it ourselves. Same with cotton. Cotton and rice are two very water intensive crops.
Another good thing about beans, okay, over here, like for example, squash that does very well here. Well, you can pick your squash, and if you store it right, you might get 2 months, maybe 2.5 months before it goes bad. That's kind of stretching it. But and a lot of people, well, most people over here don't have refrigeration, at least in the province. If they brought more species of beans here, people can dry the beans, and they'll be good for 5, 6 years. They'll have a food supply, and poor people don't have refrigeration. So, and plus they go so well with rice. I just, I wish the government would bring more lagoons into the country.
Yeah, ivy. It's the same here in Adelaide. I remember my father. He put up, every plant possible, I guess, and we had banana trees which would grow, but they just never fruit because they just didn't have the right climate to fruit in. But you go to Queensland and bananas, grow like weeds over there. Australia land area almost 7.7 million. I'm not so sure about that, Twisted Bridges. I've always heard that Australia on landmass is bigger than the US, not including Alaska. With Alaska, it's bigger, but I'll have to look it up. But it's a huge place, and
I think it's bigger than the continental U.S. Yeah, not including Alaska.
Yeah, not including Alaska, it's bigger. And we got I think it's 23 million people, while you guys are up around the 300 million.
What's the population of Australia?
About 23 million.
Oh, I thought it was like 40 million for some reason.
No, it's only about 23. Might be heading up to 24, but.
Oh, that's way less than I thought. Y'all need to start getting it on. What the hell's going on over there?
Got to remember, I guess, Australia's always had a fairly reasonably small population compared to other countries. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, immigration's always been limited, I guess. I guess too, we're secluded. When you think about where Australia is, I mean, where the US is, I mean, you've got South America joined right up there, and I guess easy for people to jump into the country from there. But to Australia, it's a fair bit of effort to get into Australia.
Now, what's the indigenous people in Australia?
Aboriginals.
Now, those Aborigine women, are they good looking, Thunder? Or have they won very many like beauty contests or anything?
Oh, geez, I don't want to.
Beauty is subjective.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you can get some good-looking girls, but on generally speaking, I mean, it depends. Because over here now, you got those who still live out in Arnhem Land like they did thousands of years ago, and I guess life's pretty harsh on those people. So, but you get those that live in the city that might be of mixed ethnicity. Some of them are very pretty.
Yeah, you look at like the Miss Universe contest, and it's usually so many times it's been a Filipina or a lady from Colombia, you know.
No, they don't look like Indians in America, Joshua. I mean, geez. I mean, even looking at Africans compared to Australian Aboriginals, there's a fairly big difference in them. So,
Did you ever go out with one or have one for a girlfriend?
not as a girlfriend. I know Aboriginal. My best friend was Aboriginal when I was younger. He had sisters. A couple of them were gorgeous. Actually, three of them. All of his sisters were pretty hot looking girls. But no, I never. I have been with an Aboriginal girl, but not like dating. But you got to remember, I met
Are you
my
saying you did boom boom with her? Is that what you're getting at?
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But I was with my ex from a real young age, so I was pretty well off the market pretty early. So
I was going to make a joke, but I didn't.
the in Australia, we now even have issues with Aboriginals versus Aboriginals because a lot of the full bloods that live out in the country areas don't always get along with the mixed Aboriginals. There can be a little bit of friction between them. It's
Now,
kind of strange.
does your government like here in the States? They have programs, you know, to where to placate. I mean, does the government have programs to help the Aborigines kind of pay back?
They do, and a lot of money is spent on departments that are aimed at helping the Aboriginals. But the truth of it is that a lot of that money is going to middle management and never really gets down to the people that need it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's a flawed system, unfortunately. So some people benefit from it and some don't. Yeah. Well, see, there you go. Nathan, so I don't know much about the territory, but he's saying there's a massive program in the territory. But again, whether that money gets down to the general population or not, it seems that sometimes some of the Aboriginals controlling that money abuse it, waste it.
I just reading what Ivy's writing. Hey Ivy, I hate Monsanto. By the way, I'm a Monsanto hater.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. Not a big fan of what they do to the ordinary, everyday farmer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Nathan. Just saying what I said is correct. So over there, they obviously have the same problems where the money's not being funneled down to where it's really needed, which is a shame because the government does put a lot of money into it, but it just doesn't get down to the right people, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a flawed system. It gets abused.
You know, Monsanto is quietly buying up a lot of these seed companies.
Do you want? Can I just relate? Sorry, before you go on about that, just so remember what you're saying about the seed companies. I just want to rehash a story here that I heard about Monsanto. There was a farmer using GMO products from Monsanto, and then not far down the road was a farmer with natural crops, and because his crops got pollinated with this GMO stuff,
Cross contaminated. Yep.
yeah, Monsanto claimed his crops. They went to court and actually claimed this poor bugger's crops, saying that that was their property.
Yeah, like he could stop the wind from blowing.
But how wrong is it? I mean, there's a flaw in your system over there that, I mean, this litigation thing, it's insane in the US, you know?
Yeah.
And to take a man's crops away because of something like that, that it is corrupt. You know, that
Oh yeah, they
it
were
is.
trying to put him out of business. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. What were you going to say about the seed?
Well, like Burpee Seed Company, I believe that was bought up by Monsanto. They're going to try to control. Right now, they're not. I mean, they're slowly tightening the noose. But right now, they're buying up all these Johnny Seed Company. There's a bunch of them that they own. I don't know what their plan is for the future, but I suspect that they're going to try to control people's food.
I think they've been doing that for a while, haven't they?
Well, yeah, they've been on that course. Yep. But there's an organization out there called Seed Savers, and they're a network of people that that trade seeds through the internet, and they have seeds put aside. So they're trying to fight against Monsanto.
Yeah, Gunner, it's criminal. Something needs to be done about it because you're getting, these poor guys who, work their bloody fingers to the bone to make a living from their farming, and to lose it in litigation like something as ridiculous as that. I mean, if your government can't see that there's something wrong with that, like, what the hell?
You know who was involved in Monsanto big time? Daddy Bush and Rumsfeld.
Not surprised. Two big crooks there. Yeah, look, Nathan, I hear what you're saying, but that's, you're looking for utopia. I don't think the unfortunately the way the world works at this point in time anyway, money rules, unfortunately. Yeah, Monsanto really does need to be taken to task. Someone was saying Bayer owns Monsanto now. Yeah, exactly, Gunnar. They are in cahoots because of the money, and yeah, it makes me angry. It really does make me angry. Yeah, that's wrong, Joshua. It really is wrong. And I feel for those guys who are affected by that.
Okay.
Just, well, Nathan, as it stands at the moment, yeah, we are. But I mean, I guess I'd like to think that maybe in the future things will change. Whether it will or not, it remains to be seen. But I'd like to think that you know it will change.
Well, I know how much you dislike the Bible there, Thunder, but it says, it predicts that there will be famine, in the future. I'm trying to remember what it says. A day's wages for a crust of bread. It'll get that bad.
Yeah, but I mean,
Can you
that's a
imagine
bit.
working all day
Well,
just
that's
to be
happening in
able?
Venezuela right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that you can predict those. So it was like the Nostradamus predictions. I could probably write things today, and
Well,
it's
Nostradamus.
possibly that, and possibly some of those things will be correct in 100 years.
Those were vague quatrains. How do you say it?
Quatrains.
Quatrains, where there's some predictions or prophecies in the Bible. Like, for example, I think I mentioned this to you before. It talked about, this is written thousands of years ago, and they talked about Damascus, Syria. It will be nothing more than a heap of rubble. And what do we have in Damascus, Syria? It's a heap of rubble. And it talks about the troops crossing the Euphrates River. Well, the Euphrates River has been drying up, so it'll be very easy for troops to march across. There's so many. I mean, there's so many things that are spot on compared to some big quatrains that I don't know. If people get excited, about that other character,
Larry,
yeah.
do you think the Bible is actually God's word? Like the whole Bible is the word of God? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Do you have any problems with the Bible at all? Like some of the stuff, mostly in the Old Testament, for example.
Do I have problems with the Bible? Yeah, yeah, I do.
So I guess
because I get confused with this a lot of times. I'm not a Christian. I'm Buddhist, and I do have problems with the Bible and I've read it. Like in Exodus, for example, it says how you're able to own slaves, which we know slavery is a terrible thing now.
So, well, you're trying to judge ancient people with modern day values.
No, I'm judging a omnipotent being who apparently is peace loving and wonderful and set moral guidelines for all eternity, but yet sanctions.
Well, his time to intervene is not yet come. Okay, that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was for man to live in paradise without death, without pain and suffering. That was ruined by the enemy.
And it doesn't bother you that a lot of those Bible stories were just stolen from stories from a ancient civilization, such as like the Sumerians, and those stories were just
about the flood, and
lots of stories were stolen straight out of the Sumerian stories, and a lot of things in the Bible were actually written. How you doing, MJ? There's some things that were put in the Bible, particularly around the time of the Vikings, to turn the Vikings from their pagan religions to the Christian religion. I mean, the Bible to me is just something that's been written to suit. Again, a lot of their stories were taken straight from somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, those things are true. The stealing stories, but my main problem has always been I've been told.
Oh, you broke up, lost. Just as you got to you said the main problem is we couldn't hear you. Yeah, I guess one of the big arguments you can always use is the difference between Old Testament and New Testament. I mean, suddenly from having a God that says eye for an eye, life for life,
To own people, decided as a
you know,
society that own people
that's why
owning people is bad.
that's why I think the Bible was, one written to suit, and it really was a way of controlling people.
Yeah, I agree with that also. I think, religion started out as a way to explain the unexplainable.
Well, the biggest thing was that fear of death, and I guess for some people, religion sort of gives you some sort of comfort in believing that there's something after death.
Yeah, I agree. People don't want to think that their one life here is just that's it, and then you go away.
I'm just reading here in the United States, some places you can't even collect rainwater. You know, there was talk here in Australia, and it was so stupid of actually charging people for any rainwater they collected, as if the government owns the weather and owns the rain.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's government stepping over their boundaries for sure.
What that is, that's the leftist. The leftist.
That's government, period. There's left and right people that are allowing those laws to come into.
Conservatives aren't making those laws. That's coming from the left. That's coming from Democrats.
I think it comes from any politician who thinks they can make money from something.
I mean, I don't have no stats to back anything
Conservatives
up.
are for less government.
If I was to look up, I've looked up everything. If I was to look up who, passed certain laws, you will see that a lot of them are both. What do they call it when both sides of the party they get together to
bipartisan?
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is bipartisan.
What you're talking about is California. Okay, California is run by the leftists. Look who's the governor of California. Yeah. Look at Pelosi's from California. That's leftist ideas.
I'm not. Well,
another place they're doing the water thing.
Not all ideas.
Colorado.
Leftist ideas.
Colorado is run by leftists. These places where they're trying to charge people for rainwater, I mean that's leftist states. That's not red states. That's blue states.
Thing is, Larry, I think there's good points to conservative and there's good points to liberal. You just got to find a happy medium, which they can't seem to do. I think extreme left is bad and extreme conservative is bad. It's extreme attitudes that cause the issues.
Well, as we progress through time, our society, at least in the States, has moved more to the left. It's on a steady course moving to the left as time goes by. Things are getting worse.
I mean, we say that too, but I guess if you wanted to look at the overall picture, I'm not so sure things are worse. I mean, financially, yeah, things are more expensive, but over here, wages are getting higher too. Medically, things are better here. You live longer now. You live healthier now.
Look at how many people take the United States. Look at how many people are just sad. Look how many people are taking antidepressants. Okay.
Hang on, that's
pharmacy. You need to look up somebody called Steven Pinker, I think is the name. Are you familiar with this guy? He tells you how how much better the world is right now compared to just like 30 years or so ago. I mean,
Yeah.
our things are far from perfect. Don't get me wrong, but the world has improved so much, and this guy has all
Yep.
these stats to back it up. You should look him up. It's
Yeah.
very good and interesting stuff.
And I would agree with him. I think what Larry's referring to, though, I think one is people need to toughen up. There's this real soft bullshit going on with some people now that, woe is me bullshit. The other thing is doctors do tend to um, throw prescriptions out there too easily.
Yeah. Well, to let
Uh,
me hit another point here real quick. As nations become more and more successful, like most of our Western countries, they always move more left towards more social things because you become rich and you're able to do more to help more people, but eventually you end up collapsing on yourself once you think you become too big and too powerful and too rich.
Look at
Right
these.
now in society.
Look at these snowflakes on the college campuses. Try to compare these modern snowflakes, safe spacer snowflakes, with the greatest generation. The people that fought World War II. And try to compare those two groups.
Listen, this is how good we have it in the USA. Okay, they have to come up with a term called microaggressions. All right. This younger generation don't even understand. I mean, I can talk about myself to the generation prior to me. They had it harder than I have. Kids have it easy these days. These millennials, they just have it easy. It's not that I mean, we're being brought up in a society where it's easy for them and they don't have hardly any problems. So I mean, not being able to play their video game or whatever it might be is considered tragic to them. Part of it is society's fault. Part of it's technology advancements and many other things we can point to. Is there a problem? Yeah, I'm not going to say there's no problems. I agree with some of the points you make, but that's not the whole thing. It's not a leftist versus rightist type of situation. It's more than that.
I think
Well,
so too.
look at how people bring up their kids. Okay, if they're leftists, you end up with powder puff kids, man.
Some of them, yeah, without a doubt. I think that's
The
that's
fathers
not just that's not
strong.
leftist though. That's just a generation of kids
Uh,
coming up that way.
if someone raises their kids with more right wing, say the kid's getting in trouble, the father disciplines them. The kid messes up. Hey, get down and give me 25 push-ups. The kid's gonna be harder. He's gonna when he goes through life and life tries to beat the kid down, or if a problem comes up, the kid's gonna be tough. He's gonna be able to push through it. Where if the kid's
No,
raised by a single parent, say a mom, he's a powder puff, he's gonna be throwing tantrums and he's not gonna be able to deal with the world.
I just would never ever do that to my son. Hell, my father was hard as nails, mate, on us as kids, but he wouldn't even do that shit. I mean, I think it's an attitude thing. I think society is responsible as well. You know, I don't know what it's like I guess America's the same, but there was a time here in Australia where if two guys had a fight, the cops would come, send one guy one way, send the other guy the other way, and that would be the end of it. Now it's, two guys have a fight, you've got to have a bad guy and a good guy, and charges have to be laid, and it's just society. There was a
You
time
know
when
what?
Yeah, they put feelings into the situations where they're tossing out logic and it's all about feelings now. And that's one of
Did
the
you guys
problems.
see that movie, The Accountant? The movie The
no,
Accountant.
no, don't know.
Yeah, with Ben Affleck, that was pretty good.
Yeah, did you see when those kids in France were picking on his son? The dad took him over there and he said, "All right, now you can stick up for yourself." He took his kids over there and told them to go fight those kids. That's how it was when I grew up. you had a problem with somebody, man, they would get the boxing gloves out, and the dads would get involved. Yeah, let them fight it out. Try that nowadays.
Yeah. And I think I was going to say, there was a time here where a couple of kids could be rat bags, and the cops would get them, and the cops would just give them a kick in the ass and send them on their way with a warning. Now it's, put them in handcuffs and, lock them up. And yeah, he probably does, MJ. I'm not, Larry, how old do you think the MJ wanted to know if you think the Earth is only 10,000 years old? Although I think in the Bible, if you work out the Bible, it's supposed to be 6,000 years, isn't it?
I don't talk to MG. I got him on block. The guy's just a troublemaker in my view.
No.
He wants attention.
Right.
He makes trouble everywhere he goes. So I got him on block.
I'll ask the question: are you a young Earth guy or an old Earth guy?
That's a good question.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, Lost was asking you.
I'm not sure. I know there's a gap theory. I don't know if you know about the gap theory, but I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
Because what we're getting at here is that if you use the Bible as something that's factual, then the Earth is only 6,000 years old. But science tells us that it's more like 4.5 billion years old. There's a big difference.
You know about the soft tissue. You know about the soft tissue? They just discovered a dinosaur bone. Try looking that up.
Why? What's about that?
Well, if they were, how old did they say dinosaurs are? 65 million years.
It depends. There's different ages.
If that was the case, when they saw through dinosaur bones, there would be no soft tissue. Well, they found out recently that there is soft tissue in dinosaur bones.
It depends on where they're found, Larry. Some like in ice, for instance, you got a good chance of finding soft tissue in something.
True, but these bones were found in the Midwest United States.
Yeah, I guess again, and I'm not a geologist, whatever, but it would depend on the medium that they're found in. Some things do. Some things do tend to.
Ecology was shocked. It turned it on their head when they found this soft tissue. Look it up. There's plenty of information on it. This is something recently within the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. And the woman that discovered it, they tried to ruin her career because it didn't go along with the narrative.
Yeah.
I have heard this, and I wish I could remember to rebut some of it, but I think they there was it was one of the Joe Rogan episodes. He had one of the what are the dinosaur people called, the study dinosaurs? He had one of those guys.
Paleontologists.
Yes,
Paleontologists.
He was debunking a lot of those things. I don't know if it was one of them or not. I can't say for positive, but
I know the guy you're talking about too. I seen that show as well. I mean, the bottom line is when we talk dinosaurs, we have dinosaurs from so many different periods. I mean, as far as I know, even like the woolly mammoth was only 10,000 years ago. We're not talking millions, but I mean, it's still a long time. But it just depends on what period.
Larry, are you a flat Earth guy?
No.
I'm surprised that there's so many people that are.
I can't believe at least on the internet, I've never personally met anybody who was a flat earther. I can't.
I'll tell you one thing though. There's plenty of information on the net where they're having trouble. I'm not a flat Earth guy, but there's a lot of research where, especially from some Brazilian scientists, you can take a look at it on YouTube. They couldn't find the curvature of the Earth.
I don't know about that.
There's a 2-hour special. These are scientists.
There's a little test thing, like you do like pinhole things and with the sun or something. I forget how that works. I'd have to look that up. But
They were
but
talking to an Air Force navigator when he was talking about, he was always perplexed because he would do his calculations on flat charts, okay, but then when he'd fly someplace like 2,000 miles away, it should have been different because of the curvature of the Earth, and everything worked out right, right on target, right perfectly.
I mean,
it's
look at
a
GPS, which
it's
we
a
run.
really big
The
really big
attitude
Earth.
adjustment is zeroed out on a flat runway, and then they'll fly like 4,000 miles. Okay, and if you're traveling 4,000 miles, you're going over a curve. If the Earth is rounded, it should be at a different attitude when they land, and it's perfectly flat.
No, but at 4,000, that's not a lot. Not a lot of distance when you
Yeah,
consider the
yeah, that's
size of the Earth.
4,000
Other
or 26,000.
geometry,
Kind of a small
I don't
area.
have the exact figures, but for every kilometer, they have a measurement that the Earth is supposed to curve.
I'll give you an example. Is if you watch a ship on the ocean. Now we know the ocean is flat, right? But if you watch a ship, you can only, even with the most powerful telescope, you can only see it for a certain amount of time before it goes over the horizon.
Unless you get a more powerful telescope.
No,
And
no,
you can
no.
get them. That's
There's
what I'm saying.
there's a whole there's a whole thing for how high you got to be to see so far. Using the water is the only way you can truly do it because the land goes up and down.
Yeah,
And
but you could do it on
I
water.
forget what it is. Like you'd have to be up so high to see. Like a 6 foot person can technically, over the horizon. If you wanted to look at something that was also say 6 foot tall, for example, you could only see you wouldn't be able to see them past a mile and a half because the curve of the water would put them out of focus. You'd have to go up higher to see them.
Yeah, yeah. But this flat Earth stuff is.
That's why they had problems. When they used to sail long
But
ago.
but
Even on top of those watchtower things, which were like 40 feet up in the air, they can still. I think at 40 foot, you can still only see something like 20 miles or something like that. I mean,
I,
you can.
I can tell you this, Larry. When we were laying down railway track and building stations, we were talking to the engineer who actually had a formula to take in for the curvature of the Earth when building. When anything was built over a certain distance, they had a special formula they had to use that took
Oh,
in the
yeah.
curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. I was trying to remember. Yeah, you have the for probably anybody there, Navy.
I guess that'd be the people to talk to is guys who have been in the Navy and been out at sea, and they would notice that a lot more than what we would on land. That's for sure.
Yeah, because my dad was in the Navy. He talked about it all the time. He would, these
Yep.
people
Hey,
would
Thunder,
say they're out in the boat and they can see
is
40
that email
miles all
you?
around and that. But
But the flat Earth one is one I don't understand at all. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people out there who, and they put up a pretty good argument. But if you were to get a proper scientist in there, their arguments can be torn down pretty quickly. The problem is they're putting it out there for everyday people who don't understand the science of things. Yeah, I can imagine that, Gunner.
Earth curvature calculator. Yeah, so my dad was in the Navy. He used to, when we used to go boating, he used to teach me about these things. Of course, I haven't been boating in forever, so I can't remember all of it.
Oh, that's a good question. Did you try balut while you're over there, Mexican Jew? To be honest with you, I wouldn't touch it myself. They never proved the Earth was a ball. I'm not sure about that.
Right there.
Go to here's another one. Go to the Japanese have a satellite that takes pictures of the Earth every 5 minutes. It updates on the thing, some satellite out there, and it shows how the Earth is moving. So there's something right there.
That's funny, NCE.
Anyway,
It didn't taste that bad. Oh my god. Well, what gets me is we're talking the ancient Greeks knew the Earth was round. Thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
We seem to be going backwards.
Yeah,
Geez, MJ tried balut. Oh my god, he said it didn't taste that bad. Oh shit.
Balut don't taste that bad. I had a while ago. It's not horrible.
It's just the thought, I guess. It's just that perception,
It's more the way it looks. It looks disgusting, but it's very similar to like a boiled.
It's kind of funny, MJ, since you was talking about going there and heading there now. I don't think he's put up any videos. So, well, I don't watch them anyway. I should just unsub, but I do get the notifications, but can't be bothered. We've got so much shit to watch now anyway. I'm bloody always waiting for Larry to get off his lazy ass and put up something with the farm.
I just put a cave video up. Well, I got to put it on my site. It's on my wife's site.
Okay. Hey, how you doing, Jerry? There goes the channel now. How you doing anyway, Jerry? Always good to see you. What time is it in the US, guys? It must be
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock right now.
Oh, late afternoon.
Central time.
Well, what time do you finish work, mate?
Yeah, I'll probably finish in a couple hours. I got too much to do to call it a day already.
Okay. Geez, put in a long.
I gave up on looking for that form, but yeah, I put in the time I need to get things done. So.
We've covered lots of topics, Jerry, but just then we were on the two things, I guess. One was the flat Earth thing, which eventuated from talking about how old the Earth is.
Is that Jerry the Fairy?
Yeah, he's in there. Gunner, be fair. I mean,
everybody knows him by the name.
I'm not religious myself, but I respect everyone's opinion, and if people want to follow a faith, then that's all well and good. Like Loss, for instance. I hope he doesn't mind me using him as an example. I mean, he's a Buddhist. He has his beliefs, and why should we attack him over those beliefs? For the most part, if you're not hurting anybody, and what's the big deal? Yeah, and Buddhist is a pretty good religion if you look at it. It's pretty well treated everything, even animals, with respect. Which I like that idea a lot. Yeah, I know. You just poking him with a stick there, Gunner. That's all good.
Don't get me wrong. I'm no Bible thumper at all. But I believe, I believe that there's a creator, there's a designer, and I just happen to believe, the Christian beliefs. And I hold that very
And this,
dear to me. I'm not trying to push that on anybody. Everybody's got to follow
that's,
their own path.
I
the
just
big
want
problem I have
people to be
with
open-minded. I want people to be open-minded to new ideas. I don't want you to be closed-minded because of a certain dogma is keeping you from
yeah, exactly.
exploring new. Going all the way back to the Dark Ages thing, for example, the church held people down from believing the Earth was round. I mean, it's things like that.
No, Gunner. We're not. No, I think you're right, Lost. I think it that if you could wish anything, you wish people were at least open-minded about things. Um, I guess my problem with religion is when one they get involved in politics, which I really don't agree with at all, and those people that will, um, and this is crazy because Jesus himself said about not judging people and that, and yet some religions will hammer some parts of the community. I want to practice. I want to practice Buddhism. Communism would be a bud a week and a cold Budweiser. It has caused some problems, Lefty, over time. Definitely, there's no doubt about that. And lots of people have died in the name of religion, which is just, to me, it's how hypocritical, for so-called religious people to get people up in arms to go fight a war in the name of religion. I mean, you had 3 crusades in our time that were based just solely on religious persecution. Yeah, I like history, Joshua. Like I said, I just don't like um, the Bible being used as a factual document because my personal, and this is again my personal belief, is that it's not a factual document. Over the years, it's been written to suit. Uh, and the King James version is a really good representation of that. It was written to suit the people of the time. I think Christianity is a good thing. Religion is the bad thing. There's nothing wrong with Christian values, that's for sure.
I just hate the idea that people are using the Bible as God's word when you can obviously see the flaws in the Bible if you read it, which I have two
Yeah,
times
me too.
now.
I was brought up a Catholic and went through a Catholic school, and uh, as far as I know, the only words that God ever wrote down were on a stone tablet, and there was 10 Commandments. That was it. Everything
We
else was
don't
written
even
by people.
technically know he wrote those because
Well, he also wrote out
Nebuchadnezzar
on
breaking.
the wall, Nebuchadnezzar's son, Belshazzar, right before Babylon was taken over by Cyrus the Great. He pretty much wrote on the wall with a finger appeared out of nowhere and wrote on the wall, and it pretty much wrote that you're screwed for what you've done. And at that point, Cyrus the Great was attacking Babylon.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Nathan, you're right. Like I said, we had 3 crusades. We had the Spanish Inquisition. Um, the things that have been done in the name of religion, um, horrific. Uh, and they've probably been the purveyor of some of the worst crimes on the planet. You know, even to the point in America, um, around Salem, the witch hunts that they had. You know, I mean, religion's not innocent in any of the atrocities that have been committed. That's for sure. Oh, Mexican, stop pushing. We know you're an asshole, and that's fine, but stop pushing, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take your wrench away and let Larry deal with you. ISIS is killing thousands right now in the name of religion. No, Dick inside it doesn't end. You know, uh, Christians these days are pretty moderate for the most part, although you're going to get extreme sects. But Islam, that was once the moderate religion and very more understanding, and they've turned right around now where they've, you know, the Muslim religion is there's so many extremist groups amongst them that but there was a time I think during the Ottoman Empire where they were very you know, they allowed Christians to practice their faith in their countries and even built them churches and all the rest of it, while the Christian world at the time would kill you if you were Muslim. And it's changed right around now. Everyone's welcome here, MJ. Like I said, I have no problem with anyone who has faith. I mean, that's not a bad thing. You know? I know you're just saying. You're a button pusher though, MJ. Cult is an unpopular religion, and religion is a popular cult. Yeah, just a play on words, but yeah. Like
At
I
one
said,
time,
Nathan,
Christianity was looked at as a cult.
I just think that Christianity is a good thing. Religion is the bad part of it. You know, there's nothing wrong with Christian values, that's for sure. But the problem is, hey, Crystal, the thing is, no one really in any religion practices what they preach, Larry. The Catholic Church is guilty of so much shit, you know. I'm sure churches in the US are the same in other religions. They don't practice what they preach.
Well, the Catholic Church was corrupted from the start. It was blended with paganism to hold the Russian or the empire, the Roman Empire together.
Well, not to hold them together. Where Christianity came in, and I can't remember the guy's name, but it was in a Rome. Is it Roman? Yeah, Constantine fought a battle under the sign of the Christian. He had a vision or something, and had all these soldiers put on the a Christian symbol on their shields, and they won a battle where they were outnumbered.
Which we've learned that's false. He changed that later. They made a statue of that later. When they fought, he wasn't a Christian at the time.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think.
Later when they built that statue or whatever. The monument to the battle, they changed all that later.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things about religion, but like I said, the actual Christian values are not bad. It's finding someone that really does hold to them. A lot of religions don't. All I see is, and I don't know the stats on this, but what I see though is religions getting richer and building bigger, better churches and having all this money, and yet I would have thought that, you know, you don't need the biggest, baddest church out there, and the money should be used on helping the people that are part of that congregation, but they don't seem to do that. Yeah, Hagati, religion is corrupted, all of them. But like I said, I have my own personal opinions on it, and everyone's is going to be different. Yeah, Rome became stronger. But what you got to remember, Twisted, is when Rome fell, you still had the kingdom in the east, Constantinople, which was still held by Rome for a long time after Rome fell. So, and history's a wonderful thing, but again, it gets written by the victors. So, how much of history that we get told is actually 100% correct is debatable. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, Larry definitely has Christian values, but you're not a big churchgoer either, are you, Larry?
I went to church last Sunday.
Yeah, but it's not like you go every Sunday religiously, is it?
I go every Sunday.
Oh, I thought you said I was talking to you one day and you said it was too hot for you in there, so you took off.
I still went to church.
Okay.
I dropped my wife off there, but
yeah. So technically, you could say you've been.
no, my wife, she goes every Sunday.
Yeah,
and,
that's fair enough.
Yeah. Over here in the Philippines, people actually go to church a lot more than in the States. Now I know it's a bigger population base, in the United States, but you look around here in the Philippines on Sunday, and I swear probably most people they're going to church.
I think, Catholics. I mean, we know that the Philippines is a Catholic country, and they're big on it. But I would assume that over time that's slowly going to degrade.
Oh, I agree.
I hear that all the time, but every time I tell my wife I'll go to church with her once a month. And every time I go, that thing is completely full, people standing outside. So I don't know how much, what's a Catholic church? I don't know how much that's actually declining, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but then again, I guess it comes down to, how many churches are being built in that area, I guess.
And then obviously I'm in one small part of the world, compared to the whole country. I mean, this area could be highly more.
Well, the Midwest,
fulfilling.
the Midwest seems to be more into the religion thing than, say, the East or West Coast. It's more so the Midwest. I guess maybe that's
Midwest and South in general, a little more religious, I guess. Bible Belt part of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, Thunder, I got to get going. I got some things I got to take care of. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, Larry. Always welcome, mate.
Okay, Lost. Nice to talk with you.
Always good to hear from you. Always good to hear the other side, mate. That's great. That's great.
Keep an open mind.
Yeah, we'll do. We all need to. At the end of the day, we could be wrong. But
yeah, but see, we're open to that possibility of being wrong.
Yeah. I guess that is one of the big things with religion, and it becomes a bit of an issue, is that they're so adamant about their point of view and that they're right, and there's no chance of being wrong. But I guess that comes down to that faith, and I guess that fact that they got to believe, otherwise they ain't going to get all the rewards at the end of the day when they die. So, yeah, well, good on him, Twisted Britches. It's not a bad thing to worship. Nothing wrong with worshipping a nice set of boobs or a nice bum.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm a slave till.
I just think, we, and even yourself, MJ, you just need to be a little bit more accepting of other people's views, and we're not all going to have the same views, that's for sure. I mean, there was a time when, I would have probably been jumping on people the same.
Hope it wasn't too loud.
No, Gunner. Jesus, Gunner.
What's MJ saying in the chat?
Oh, Gunner's there. Thunder, so you're saying you don't believe when you die you will get 72 short dong ladyboys. You're an evil bugger, Gunner. MJ, I was no different when I was your age, mate. I was probably fucking worse. My views have just mellowed over the years. And I'll tell you what, and I tried to tell this to my son the other day. When I was 21, I thought I knew everything. When I got to 30, I thought, fuck, I didn't know bugger all when I was 21, but now I know everything. Then I got to 40 and I realized I knew a lot more than I did when I was 30, but realized at the same time that I don't know everything and never going to know everything, but just going to learn more and more as you go along, always learning. But at no age are you going to think that you know everything. Yeah, there's some religions that believe that when you die, you come back as depending on how you behaved in the life before. So check out the INC church members accused of kidnapping in the Philippines by one of the crimes in his documentary.
Here, so I get to
Yeah,
comment on
me too.
Here. Yeah, you still don't know shit. You probably never know shit, you 50-year-old jackass.
Dick Insider, feel free to tell him up yours. But that's it. You just never know everything. We all do.
There's no way everybody can know everything. You just got to always keep an open mind and, don't stick to something that could easily change. And if you're wrong, just accept you're wrong, swallow your pride, I guess.
MJ, look, you draw the line and that's fine and you must ridicule. Well, the best way to argue with anybody is not so much ridicule them because you lessen your argument. The best way is to put facts up against them that they can't argue back with. When you ridicule, you sort of lessen your own argument.
I agree with that.
I think the best way to argue
some people are going to believe and no matter what you say. So it's best just to move on.
Exactly, that's true. Yeah, I agree. That's just the way it is, and I think some religious people are definitely guilty of that.
I think everybody's guilty of it at some point in their life. Something
ridicule.
Your opinion becomes truth to you at some point, I guess, or it can. Just got to be open to the facts and new ideas. I don't know. I don't have the answers, obviously, but open-mindedness is something I believe in. You need to be open-minded and evaluate new information as it comes in.
There was a time I would have agreed with you, MJ, but not so much now. I tell you what, you talk about soft generation. I tell you what, your views soften as you get older too. Because if I could, if I was 30 now, I'm looking at myself, I'd be going, "What the fuck did I become?" But your views do change as you get older. And it's not a bad thing. I think you become a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more acceptable of other people's opinions.
Yep. And it is a little more fun to make fun of somebody who has an outlandish belief in something like the
Oh
flat
yeah,
Earth.
I know
They're
it is
flat.
easy to do, and you know, you got to wonder, like, where's common sense has gone out the door here, and
No.
but it's like the same as people that will believe that the Earth's 6,000 years old, and yet science will tell us it's more like 4.5 billion years old. I mean, whether we are 4.5 billion years old or not, that remains to be seen. I don't know how the hell they can do that, but obviously they can. But they may be off still by a certain amount, but it wouldn't be that much as to be confused with 6,000 years old anyway. I mean, carbon dating seems
And they
to
use
be pretty
the
effective now.
the 6 to 10,000 year thing. I believe is they're tracing the ancestor of the Bible. Isn't that correct? If I can
Yeah,
remember
that's
that
right.
correctly.
Yep. Yeah, they use the Bible as to age the Earth. Yeah, gummy, that stuff's not. Thanks for getting rid of that, MJ. Don't need to see that sort of shit in here, gummy bear. Well, he's allowed to express his views in here, Joshua, as long as it doesn't get ridiculously and get nasty with people. What's funny is someone who believes the Earth is 6,000 years old ridiculing someone who believes the Earth is flat. Yeah, it is funny. Uh, Ironic, isn't it? No, that's not true, Johnny Karate. Um, I just spoke to Focus, and he hasn't seen him. Yeah, that's a good channel. You put me onto that, Nathan. Potholer 54. I watch. Uh, I've watched a few of his videos. It's very good, based on science. So yeah, and I'm not saying all science is right and they're always correct, but I'd trust science before a lot of other things. No, he's not, MJ. Yeah, I'm not sure what was up with that, Britches. Obviously, you said something to set Charlie off. Charlie's not usually like that. I was hoping that you two guys would get it out of your system, but um, obviously you weren't able to do that. Just remember, bust each other's balls, but just don't get nasty with it. Joshua, you're allowed your opinion, just like I'm allowing MJ to have his, so you're allowed yours as well. Yeah, I know, MJ hasn't really endeared himself to a lot of people, but that's how he that's how he is.
I like MJ. Do it, Mexican Jew. Do whatever you got to do. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Don't encourage him. Jesus, lost. Crystal, you're still there. Well, that goes for everyone, Gunner. Really. Yeah, I didn't think that was that bad, Britches. Well, guys, bust each other's balls and get it over and done with, but just don't go overboard and get nasty. Just remember, you are sitting behind a keyboard on the internet, guys. We're not in the real world. Well, troll. I mean, that word gets thrown around so much these days. How you go to a channel and if you disagree with the person, suddenly you're a troll. So it does get thrown around too much. No, you're free to do that, Joshua. You're not sure, Johnny Karate. I'm not sure even who you're talking about. Toothless Terry. Is that the MGTOW guy? Is that who you're referring to? Everyone is a troll on Poindexter's channel. Holy shit. See, Dick Insider's my troll, Junior's my troll, Gunner's my troll. Yes, Crystal, still here. Oh, okay, so that is who that guy is, Gunner. Wow. Oh, obviously he's busy. No worries, Lost. Let's see if we've got it here. There you go, Lost. Yeah, nobody can explain Frank, I don't think. It's going to be one of the great mysteries of all time. What goes through that guy's head? Pretty crazy. Well, the link's there, Gummy Bear. I'm going to take it out again in a minute. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with all that, Joshua. I mean, I watched MJ the other day actually do a live stream, and he said something other than the time they were talking about getting together for an agreed fight. I don't think there's any threats ever really been made. I mean, maybe some innuendo, and probably more so by other people than MJ himself.
I don't know. When I was listening to them talk about getting that fight on, the charity match or whatever, there was a lot of shit being thrown around on both sides.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
There's not an innocent person in that. I would think.
But other than the talk about that particular incident, I don't think I've heard MJ actually throw any threats out there as such. So I think maybe comes more from other people, and
Well, hey,
they just.
one guy backed down from a fight. I would say the clear winner of the shit talking thing won out, in my personal opinion.
I'd have to agree. Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Talk about kicking somebody's ass, and then the gauntlet was thrown out, and there was a time to meet and take care of business, and you back out. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, well, Joshua, we all got to remember that we're just sitting behind keyboards here in different countries, so um, a lot of what we say, you got to be
That's
careful
true, but I'll tell you
because
what. Anybody wants to call me out, I'll fuck you up.
you're a big boy too, mate. There you go, boys. The Texan studs put the challenge out there. Yeah, that's true, Gunnar. Drinking and the internet never goes down well, but it takes all kinds, I guess. And I guess we all have our own meltdowns when shit gets said, and that's just normal. That's human nature. Oh, what do we got here? Gummy bear. I'm calling you out, Lost. I'll bury you in sugar. Oh shit. He's muted at the moment, Gummy bear.
Well, if you're a hot chick, it sounds like a challenge.
Gunner, I think Lost will shake and bake you, Gummy. Lack of money and having to stay in Cebu an extra 2 days because his appointment at BO was messed up. I'm not sure who you're referring to. But yeah, it's easy to argue with people over the internet. To me, it seems that a lot of guys would actually get along if they were sitting down together having a beer. You know?
Of
um,
course.
MJ, I know Focus has said if you want to contact him, he's happy to go out for a meal with you, have a couple of drinks, and if you really want to hear all the things straight from the horse's mouth, take him up on it, mate.
MJ, what are you doing? Get on this panel real quick. Let's talk about. I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about how much fun you're.
You just want to hear about the booty he's got. That's all. It's all yours. All yours, Lost. I got to take a phone call.
I'll take a. 'What are you fools saying? And chocolate. Booty call. You know, Mark ain't getting no booty calls. Eating Funyuns and they're not going down so good. Let me scroll here. That's the internet. People typing bullshit all the time.
Okay, guys, I've got about 10, 15 minutes left because there was a sun on there, and he's coming down because I told him I'd buy him 2 new front tires for his car that he got yesterday. So he's going to head down here. You know the cheeky bugger said to me, Lost. He's there. Oh, he's there, Dad. You're going to get those 2 new tires. Wouldn't it be just better to get all 4?
Oh, can't hear me. Let me put my mic closer to my mouth. How about that? Sound a little louder?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had it thrown over my shoulder there, so it went close to my mouth. And I talk low too because there are people in this house.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. He got a FG XR6, Nathan, Series 2 or Mark 2. It's a Ford, like a sports sort of sedan. Ocean blues, nice color, but got a couple of things with it. Nathan, I wouldn't have got it myself, but it was his money. if I was going to put money into it, I wanted more choice in what he got, but he wanted that, so he paid for it. I just said that one of the front tyres is a bit bald, so I said I'd buy him 2 new front tyres for it. That's rich gunner. I'll have a look and that. I don't mind doing shit for him. The Focus, he had a Focus, but he was looking at a Fiesta at one stage. But to be honest with you, I would have preferred him to be at a 4-cylinder, Nathan. He's got a heavy foot and don't really need him in a 4-litre flat 6, straight 6, sorry. Too much horsepower for him, but again, it's his money. He needs to learn and take some responsibility. So now he's going to learn that petrol's going to cost him more. Registration will cost him more.
More money.
So, I mean, I'll help him out a little bit. That's not a problem. He's just got to learn some things for himself.
Just heard you
Sorry?
fire it up. I just heard you light that cigarette up.
Oh, Jesus, you got big ears, man.
I guess.
Joshua, no need to apologise, mate. You ain't going to get MJ apologising. There's no need for you to apologise, mate. You want to have your say, do it. Yeah, that's true, Nathan. That's a good point. It is a safer car to be in an accident. That's true. But touch wood. I don't want him to be in an accident at all. I hope he learned from the last one, but 21 years old, we'll see. No, he's fine, Gunner. It's all good, mate. Yeah, I'm spewing, Randall, because I just for Christmas spent $500 on a new stereo system for his car that he crashed, and that's been written off. And hopefully, he's supposed to be organising to get it out of the car, but at first they said he couldn't. So I'm really angry about that because I put that in his car for him. So little bugger. But he's only thinking about the tyres anyway, because I said I'd buy them for him. And he didn't even notice the front tyre was bloody bald, so. All he thought was, oh, this looks nice, and that was it. Compulsive buy. I tried to tell him, I was with him, I said, don't, just have a look at it, but don't buy straight away. Don't buy the first thing you look at. Bang, he got it. So, shit happens. Yeah, Gunner, they said that he could, but he's got to organise to get down there and get it out. I've got no idea how to take it out, so he's got to go down with a friend or something to do it. It turns out, Gunner, I found out who it was. A guy that I worked with, 20, 25 years ago or something, when I was doing contract work. I met this guy. So that was kind of funny. But I'm going to nab him on that today and make sure that he's organising to go get it out of the car. I mean, as it is, he's just put an exhaust on that car and put rims and tyres on it, which you'd lose all that. But the stereo, fuck that. I just bought that for his Christmas present. I don't want him to lose that. Yeah, I'm hoping they will. As far as I know, Gunner, they said he could. but he's just got to get someone down there who knows how to get it out and put the one that came in it back in there. Yeah, well, they're not allowed to, under 25. They're not allowed to have a turbo here. No turbos, no high-powered cars. Yeah, sounds like Ramset gun.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was muted.
No, no, that's okay. All good.
Yeah, I am. I'm using a RAM set.
So at least now we know you actually do work. How you doing, Ed?
I thought I'd hit mute. My bad.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's all good.
Well, then I'll do it again. Last one.
See, now all the guys know that you actually do some work.
Yep, I'm not muting just to be muting.
Ed reckons you just woke him up with all that noise. He said, "What in the hell?"
I forgot whose show I was on one time. I thought I was muted, and I started breaking out this little jackhammer thing and going crazy. And they're like, "Lost, lost, lost." I couldn't hear them at first, you know.
Yeah, Joshua. I mean, it does happen. I don't know if it's a big problem though. What became a big problem, and I'm not sure if how big it was in the US, but over here, kids were getting into drifting, and so we're going up in the hills and drifting through the curves around the hills there, which was got very dangerous, and that became a bit of a problem. But I'm not sure it's. I mean, probably not the same there. Yeah, don't worry about it, mate. It's not anything we haven't seen before in here. Yeah, that's right, Nathan. I don't think it's any worse than anywhere else. But they have stopped the anyone getting a license now under 25. No high-powered cars allowed. No V8s. No turbochargers. There is a power to rate ratio formula they work on. All good, Joshua. Not a problem, mate. Like I said, I've got a few more minutes and then I'm going to take off and get changed because the boy will be over to go get his new tyres. So it's funny, you know. Any other day, it's hard to get hold of him. When he wants something, he's
Anybody talking crap in the chat before we get out of here?
no, not really. Just Ed Lippert,
Oh, too
Lippy Ed.
bad. I was going to threaten somebody with a ram set to the head. But
Oh, Jesus. Oh, shit. We used to test the charges out on those things by putting them up against a plank of wood and firing them off, see how far we could get the nail.
Oh God, I've done those stupid things too. I got to tell you, when I was younger, with my pneumatic nail guns, we used to have nail gun wars with each other.
Oh, shit.
It was just with
Jesus.
the little trim nails. It wasn't the real big ones, but oh yeah. One of the guys working for me bent over, go there and shoot him in the butt, you know.
Yeah, see you later, Nathan. Yeah, well, mate, it's funny, Joshua. When I want to talk to him, it's hard to get hold of him. But when he wants something, he's onto me straight away. Yeah, he's a rat. But no different to any other 21-year-old kid, and because he's an only child, we'll sort of spoiled him. So that's all good.
So when you finally
Well,
get to the
guys,
Philippines, you gonna have more kids again?
I don't know. I guess if I was to ever get a girl pregnant, you know, it's not something I'm going to run away from. That's for sure. Definitely not. Yeah, gonna exactly the same thing.
All right, well, I'll let you get out of here. I know you said you got to go.
Yeah, I should do, guys. He's on his way down here, so thanks for all you guys
I
joining.
say have them on. Let's have a little chat with this punk kid real quick.
No, he's not here yet. He's still on the way. So I got to get changed and ready. So thanks for joining me on the panel, Loss. Thanks, Larry, for joining us today. Thanks to all you guys coming into the chat. It's always good.
All the flat earthers out there, I would like to
send you best wishes because you need them.
yeah.
Good luck with that one. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Good morning, evening,
Later, everybody
afternoon.
in the chat.
Yep. Take care, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.